Chapter 1473. Double Explosion. Thank you, masters. Ningyu thanked him, then went straight to the door of the palace and stood there. Actually, Ningyu wanted to laugh. The reason why his body was trembling just now was because he was excited, not because he was worried that he wouldn't get a share of the pills. The array that Mu Hua and Mu Ping had set up was practically tailor-made for Ningyu. Ningyu had observed it carefully. The defensive power of this array formation was very strong. Ordinary 9th grade initial Earth sovereigns wouldn't be able to barge in. Even a late-phase 9th grade Earth sovereign would have to spend some effort to barge in. No one could barge in, which gave Ningyu a chance. Begin. Mu Hua and Mu Ping didn't care too much about it. They just assumed that Ningyu wouldn't be able to get the pill. Exchanging glances, Mu Ping and Mu Hua began to refine pills. Whoosh, whoosh. They took out their pill furnaces at the same time and threw the first herb into the pill furnace. In the Eastern Army, their alchemy standards were second only to Meng Quan. Normally, the two of them would compete with each other. This time, when refining the elixir, they were also competing to see who could refine the elixir first. Elder Yang, if the people of your Nebula Academy were to go all out, would you be able to subdue them? While Mu Hua and Mu Ping were refining pills, Ningyu began to communicate with Yang Chang, trying to determine the difference in strength between the two sides. Yang Chang was an 8th grade Earth sovereign, the strongest expert of the Nebula Academy in the Ascension Tower. The chances are slim. After a brief pondering, Yang Chang said, the two of them are pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereigns with powerful strength, unless Yang Chang did not continue speaking. Because Yang Chang was very clear that the possibility was very low, basically impossible. Unless what? Ningyu asked. Unless the two of them suffered heavy injuries and their strength dropped by 80%. Yang Chang replied. The pills they concoct are of a very high level. If I'm not mistaken, even if they succeed, their auras will drop by a lot. At that time, do you have a way to kill them? Ningyu asked again. No, even if their auras have dropped a lot, they are still very strong. Yang Chang shook his head. Got it. I'll think of something, Ningyu said. Be careful. If you really can't handle it, don't expose yourself. After all, Mu Hua and Mu Ping were both pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereigns, so Yang Chang didn't want Ningyu to mess around. Where there is life, there is hope. One wrong step, and every step after that was wrong. Thanks for the reminder. I know what to do. Ningyu knew exactly what he was going to do next. Since Mu Hua and Mu Ping were competing to see who could refine the pill first, there would definitely be a problem. In fact, there was a high possibility that the pill refinement would fail. Once they failed, they would definitely have to go through the second round of refining. At that time, Ningyu's possession of the Earth Dragon Grass would become a crucial factor. Fortunately, I left 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass behind. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's consciousness sank into the interspatial ring. Ningyu didn't give all of the Earth Dragon Grass to Meng Quan. There were still 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass in the interspatial ring. Ningyu's goal was clear. He wanted to tamper with the 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass. Sapling, Law of Space. Ningyu went straight to the point without beating around the bush. I want to deal with 2 pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereigns, and I need your help. Tell me, what do you need us to do? The sapling and the Law of Space floated in the interspatial ring, looking very satisfied. After devouring by Shield's energy, both the sapling and the Law of Space had received great benefit. Among them, the sapling directly advanced from 3rd grade Earth Sovereign to 5th grade Earth Sovereign, and its strength increased by several times. Its Law of Space also soared to 4th grade Earth Sovereign, and its strength could not be compared to before. After all, By Shield was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and the energy contained in his body was extremely terrifying. It's simple. You two enter the Earth Dragon Grass and help me deal with the 2 pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereigns. Ningyu said. What? Hearing Ningyu's words, The sapling and the law of space revealed shocked expressions. Was he joking? One of them was a 5th-grade Earth Sovereign, and the other was a 4th-grade Earth Sovereign. Asking them to deal with a pinnacle 8th-grade Earth Sovereign was simply asking them to die. You didn't hear me? If you didn't hear me, I'll say it again. Ning Yu continued. Hold it, you didn't hear me? What are you trying to do by asking us to deal with a pinnacle 8th-grade Earth Sovereign? The sapling was a little angry, and it rejected. I can do anything else, but this is out of the question. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. Comparatively speaking, the law of space had a good temper. But even if it had a good temper, the law of space wouldn't take the risk. Even if a pinnacle 8th-grade Earth Sovereign stood there and let them attack him, there was no way they could win. Very well, since you don't want to help, then I'll have to do it myself. Being rejected by the law of space and the sapling, Ning Yu wasn't angry. Instead, he said, but I'll say this first. If I'm killed by them later, the two of you won't be able to bear the consequences. The sapling and the law of space's faces darkened. In fact, what Ning Yu said was right. They were bound together, and if he was killed, they wouldn't have a good ending either. Tell me the specific plan. After thinking about it, the sapling and the law of space finally compromised. But before they promised Ning Yu, they still wanted to know the specific plan. They couldn't be ignorant. That's more like it. The corner of Ning Yu's mouth rose, and he began to explain the plan in detail. Chi. At the same time, Mu Ping and Mu Huo were racing against time to refine elixirs. In the blink of an eye, half an hour passed. Mu Huo and Mu Ping definitely wouldn't be able to refine elixirs in half an hour. Ha ha ha, Mu Huo, I might be one step ahead of you. Casually grabbing a medicinal herb and throwing it into the cauldron, Mu Ping laughed heartily. I've already completed the first stage. Next, I'll proceed to the second stage. With my current speed, I'll need at most 3 hours to successfully refine a medicinal pill. 3 hours? Humph. I'll only need 2 hours at most to refine the elixir. With a cold snort, Mu Huo waved his hands repeatedly, and all the soul force in his body swept out and entered the cauldron. Bang! The more anxious, the worse it would be. This sentence was very normal. Mu Huo's soul force had just entered the cauldron when something strange happened. A muffled sound rang out, and then Mu Huo's expression turned extremely ugly. Elixir explosion. Under normal circumstances, with Mu Huo's alchemy level, it was impossible for his elixir to explode. However, he and Mu Ping were in a bet, so he was a little eager for quick success. What, your elixir exploded? Mu Huo's elixir explosion made the corners of Mu Ping's mouth curl up. He said sinisterly, You're finished this time. Wait obediently. In 3 hours I can, bang. However, Mu Ping's words came to an abrupt halt halfway. A muffled sound rang out. Elixir explosion. Chapter 1474. Attack. Mu Huo's eyes widened when he saw Mu Ping explode his pill. Then, he laughed maniacally. Ha 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 ha. Mu Huo's laughter was a little unbridled, a little arrogant, and a little vindicated. Mu Ping had mocked him just now. Now, it was his turn to mock Mu Ping. Here's my chance. Ning Yu had been paying attention to Mu Huo and Mu Ping. When they both exploded their pills, Ning Yu's worry was slightly alleviated. To be honest, although Ning Yu thought they would explode their pills, he did not have much confidence in his heart. Now that they both exploded their pills, Ning Yu knew that his plan was progressing according to his imagination. Come here. As expected, Mu Ping fiercely glared at Mu Huo. Soon after, he waved his hand at Ning Yu and said, Our pill refinement has failed. Go to Master and ask if there's any extra Earth Dragon grass. As he spoke, Mu Ping flicked his wrist, wanting to break the surrounding array. Seeing this, Ning Yu was shocked and hurriedly said, Master Mu Ping, actually, I still have Earth Dragon grass on me. What? Mu Ping's eyes widened when he heard Ning Yu's words. His aura pressed towards Ningyu and he said coldly, "You actually did not take out all the earth dragon grass in the main hall. What are your intentions?" The powerful aura made Ningyu want to kneel. Swoosh. At the crucial moment, Ningyu felt another aura flying towards him. However, this time, the aura did not press down on Ningyu. Instead, it helped Ningyu resist Mu Ping's aura. "Mu Ping, since he still has earth dragon grass on him, why don't we continue the pill refinement competition and see who can refine the pill first?" Mu Hua said coldly. "That's exactly what I was thinking," Mu Ping said solemnly. "This time, I will definitely refine the pill before you. Masters, I only have 2 stalks of earth dragon grass left. You have to use them sparingly." Ningyu took out 2 stalks of earth dragon grass and threw them at Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Pa, pa. Firmly catching the earth dragon grass, Mu Ping and Mu Hua did not hesitate, immediately beginning the second alchemy competition. "Very good. Follow the script." A smile appeared on the corner of Ningyu's mouth as he muttered, "Let's wait for a few more minutes." Chi. This time, Mu Ping and Mu Hua weren't in a hurry. From the very first step, they had been very attentive. He extracted the medicinal ingredients, compressed them, fused them, and formed a pill. Step by step, Mu Ping and the others proceeded smoothly and methodically. Time continued to pass. Ningyu was very patient. He was not in a hurry to communicate with the sapling and spatial laws. Only by communicating with the sapling and spatial laws after forming the pill would the success rate be very high. About 3 or 4 hours later, bang, bang, accompanied by 2 muffled sounds, the pill cauldrons in front of Mu Ping and Mu Hua opened their lids. Then 2 pills flew out from the 2 pill furnaces. Mu Ping and Mu Hua reacted quickly, grabbing the medicinal pills in their hands at the same time. "Not bad. I didn't expect your alchemy level to be so high. You can actually refine medicinal pills with me." Mu Ping glanced at the medicinal pills in Mu Hua's hands and said sinisterly, "I wonder what the quality of the medicinal pills you refined is like." "I refined a high-grade medicinal pill." As he spoke, Mu Ping opened his palm. A white elixir appeared in his palm. The white medicinal pill's quality had reached the high-grade level. "Sorry, the medicinal pill I refined has also reached the high-grade level." Mu Hua opened his palm. The medicinal pill in his palm had the same quality as the medicinal pill Mu Ping refined. "Haha, now that I've refined the medicinal pill, I can bring out the 2 bloodthirsty madwolves." Smiling faintly, Mu Ping grabbed at the void with his right hand. Crack! Suddenly, the void ruptured and 2 huge light pillars shot out from the void. Within each light pillar was a bloodthirsty mad wolf. Looking at the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves that suddenly appeared, Ningyu could not help but clench his fists tightly. The ferocious mad wolf and the scarred mad wolf. These 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves were the ferocious mad wolves and the scarred mad wolf. However, their current conditions were clearly not optimistic. Their breathing was weak, and several of their bones and tendons were broken. "Why don't you give the medicinal pill in your hand to him?" Mu Ping looked at Mu Hua and said, "Your martial strength is slightly stronger than mine, so I definitely don't need a grade 7 Earth Supreme as a mount." "Nonsense, why don't you hand over your medicinal pill?" Mu Hua said coldly. "Master only said to give 1 medicinal pill to him. He didn't give anyone's medicinal pill to him. Why should I? It's indeed a little troublesome." Mu Ping frowned slightly and said, "How about this, let him take out another earth dragon grass, then we can work together to help him refine another medicinal pill." "That's a good idea, I agree." Mu Hua nodded and said, "Let's control the bloodthirsty madwolves first. We already agreed that I want the scarred madwolf." "No problem, I want the ferocious madwolf," Mu Ping said. "Attack!" At the critical moment, Ningyu shouted. Swish! Ningyu's sudden shout stunned Mu Ping and Mu Hua. In that 1 second, the medicinal pills in their hands underwent a shocking change. Crack! Crack! The pills shattered, and two streaks of cold light shot towards their hearts at an extremely shocking speed. The speed of the cold light was very fast, extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, the cold rays arrived before Mu Ping and Mu Huo, just inches away from their hearts. At the critical moment, Mu Ping and Mu Huo hurriedly dodged to the side, barely dodging the fatal attack. That was close. After dodging the fatal attack, Mu Ping and Mu Huo let out a long sigh of relief. If it wasn't for their powerful soul perception, they would have died long ago. "Who are you?" Mu Ping pointed at his chest a few times and said coldly, "Why did you trespass here?" "Ha!" Ningyu smiled faintly, and with a shake of his body, he transformed into his true form. "Ningyu! It's you!" Seeing Ningyu reveal his true form, the ferocious Mad Wolf and the scarred Mad Wolf shouted, "You're Ningyu?" Hearing this, Mu Ping and Mu Huo's eyes flashed with a frightening light. They already knew what had happened at the gates of Giant Shield City. Ningyu was a ferocious person who even dared to take the attack of a Sky Supreme powerhouse head-on. "That's right, I'm Ningyu." Ningyu nodded. "You have a chance to live now. Submit to me. As long as you choose to submit to me, I can spare your lives. You want us to submit to you?" Mu Ping and Mu Huo seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. They laughed wildly. "Ha! Who do you think you are? Even if we're injured, killing you is as easy as pie. Is that so? Why don't you look behind you?" Chapter 1475. Chapter 1475. Chapter 1475 Uniform, Humph. No matter how extravagant your words are, you won't be able to escape death today. Mu Ping coldly snorted. He did not believe Ningyu. They had already set up a spiritual array around the palace, so even a 9th-grade Earth Sovereign wouldn't be able to sneak in. Ningyu was asking them to look behind them? He was clearly trying to divert their attention so that the driver could escape. In the eyes of Mu Ping and the others, those two beams of cold light were Ningyu's trump cards. Ningyu's heart must be flustered that he was unable to kill them even after using his trump card. With Ningyu's current state, even if they were injured, he could still easily kill them. Sigh, what's wrong with this world? Why doesn't anyone believe the truth? Mu Ping and Mu Huo's reactions caused Ningyu to sigh. He muttered, "Don't blame me for not warning you when you get killed." "Ah." Mu Ping threw his head back and laughed wildly. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Poochie. Halfway through his maniacal laughter, Mu Ping abruptly spat out a mouthful of crimson blood. His body flew forward in a straight line. Gotcha! The immense force from his back caused Mu Ping to lose his footing, causing him to fall straight to the ground, face first. "Who is it?" The sudden change caused Mu Huo's expression to change drastically. He looked around cautiously and said in a deep voice, "Come out if you have the ability. Don't sneak around in the void." "As you wish." In the next moment, the space beside Mu Huo split open, and then Yang Chang's indifferent voice resounded. 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Mu Huo's face instantly turned cold when he saw Yang Chang suddenly appear. Although he and Mu Ping were both pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereigns, they've suffered heavy injuries, and their strength wasn't even 50% of their peak. In their current state, it was very difficult for them to be Yang Chang's match. "Quick, break the array and find a way to notify Master. I'll stop this 8th grade Earth Sovereign." Mu Huo's expression was solemn as he sent a soul message to Mu Ping. "No matter what, we must capture them alive today." "No problem." Mu Ping knew the severity of the situation. He nodded, then waved his hands and unleashed a technique to break the formation. The sapling and the law of space. "If you don't act now, when will you?" At this critical moment, Ningyu shouted. Voila! As Ningyu shouted, the void beside Mu Ping suddenly split open. Xiao! Xiao! The sapling and the law of space shot out in unison. In front of them, two dazzling flames flickered continuously. Myriad bone flame, myriad beast flame. Before the sapling and the law of space entered the earth dragon grass, Ningyu had given them the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beasts flame for safekeeping so that he could use them at a critical moment. Only like this could they deal a fatal blow to Mu Ping and the others. After all, Mu Ping and Mu Huo were both pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereigns, and their soul energies had also reached initial 9th grade Earth Sovereign. To deal with martial artists like them, they had to be dealt with in one fell swoop. They could not be given any chance to make a comeback. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles in the future. Retreat quickly. Mu Huo's senses and reactions were fast. As soon as the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beasts flame appeared, he shouted, "Those two flames are in the top 30 of the mystical flames ranking. Don't let them touch you. You can't even protect yourself right now, and you still want to help others." The corner of Yang Chang's mouth rose, then he waved his hand and said, "Come out, all of you. Let's join forces again and teach them a lesson." Swish, swish, swish. In the next instant, the void split open and several figures emerged. These figures were all 7th grade Earth Sovereigns. They were the elites of Nebula Academy. Yang Chang was at the front, and the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns were behind him. While Mu Huo was distracted, they suddenly launched an attack in an attempt to finish him off as soon as possible. Rumble! A great battle broke out. Mu Huo struggled to hold on. Damn it! Mu Huo cursed inwardly. He had no choice but to withdraw his senses and turn around to fight Yang Chang and the others. Poof! On the other side, Mu Ping's clothes were charred black after the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beasts flame closed in on him. Let's attack together. With the red demon sword in hand, Ningyu was the first to charge at Mu Ping. With the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beasts flame restraining Mu Ping could only display 1% of his peak strength. In this state, Ningyu could kill Mu Ping in a one-on-one fight, let alone when Ningyu, the sapling, and the law of space worked together. Poof, poof, poof. Under the joint attack of Ningyu and the sapling, Mu Ping continuously coughed up blood. Every time Mu Ping coughed up blood, his aura dropped a little. In the end, Mu Ping directly fell to the ground, his aura extremely weak. A peak 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Not bad, not bad. The sapling and the law of space stared at Mu Ping with great excitement. The sapling was a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, while the law of space was a 4th grade Earth Sovereign. According to their speculations, as long as they could devour Mu Ping, their strength would increase. Although a peak 8th grade Earth Sovereign didn't contain as much energy as a peak 9th grade Earth Sovereign, it was still very good. If Mu Ping wasn't an idiot, how could they capture a peak 8th grade Earth Sovereign? Don't be in such a hurry to devour them. I still have use for them. How could Ningyu not know what the sapling and the law of space were thinking? He said in a deep voice, "What you need to do now is to capture Mu Huo together with Elder Yang. I can make the decision to hand over all their treasures and elixirs to you. Deal." The sapling and the law of space were very shrewd. Only when Ningyu said this did they move their gazes away from Mu Ping. Moreover, the sapling said righteously, "We are on the same side. Even if you didn't say anything, we would have taken the initiative to deal with Mu Huo." That's right. We have always been reasonable. Now you just stay here and watch, waiting for our triumphant return. The law of space seemed to be a practical person. As soon as he finished speaking, he directly flew out and joined the battle on the other side. "Wait for me, Mu Ping. Wait for me." Seeing the law of space join the battle, the sapling roared and rushed out, afraid that Ningyu would laugh at him if he was late. The sapling and the law of space's actions made Ningyu's face dark. But their willingness to help saved Ningyu a lot of trouble. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu moved to Mu Ping's side and said, "What I said just now is still valid. As long as you submit to me, I can spare your life." Bah! Mu Ping spat on the ground and said coldly, "I'll tell you the truth. I left a strange poison in the bodies of those two bloodthirsty berserk wolves. If you dare do anything to me, I guarantee that they will die a horrible death. You're threatening me. Ning Yu's expression didn't change much. He said indifferently, I have a special characteristic. I can be persuaded by reason but not cowed by force. Since you don't know what's good for you, then I'm sorry, I can only send you to the next world. Chapter 1476. Chapter 1476. Chapter 1476. Help perish together? Sorry, but in front of me, you won't even have the chance to perish together with me. Ning Yu's lips curled upwards as he continued, the two flames beside you are the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame. They are ranked 29th and 30th on the mysterious flames ranking. As long as you want to self-detonate, they will immediately attack and devour you. Mu Ping did not speak. Instead, his expression darkened. The main reason why he didn't think of a way to leave was because of the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame. The 10,000 bone flame and 10,000 beast flame surrounded him like sticky candy. Every time he moved, the myriad bone flame and the myriad beast flame would shoot out a blazing cold light towards him. Even if he was a pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereign with his soul energy reaching the initial phase of the 9th grade Earth Sovereign realm, he was helpless before the flames. Think about it. Submitting to me won't do you any harm. On the contrary, it will improve your alchemy skills. Ning Yu shrugged his shoulders. Although your cultivation is at the pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereign realm, your soul energy is only at the initial phase of the 9th grade Earth Sovereign realm, so it's not too powerful. If you submit to me, I can find an alchemist whose soul energy has reached the level of liquid to teach the two of you. Transforming gas into liquid? Are you sure you're not messing with me? Mu Ping was a little confused. Ning Yu's soul force was only at the peak of the 8th grade. How could he find an alchemist whose soul force had reached the level of liquefying qi? All right, I promise you. After pondering for a moment, Mu Ping said, as long as you can find an alchemist whose soul force has reached the level of liquefaction, I will submit to you. Words are no proof. You have to swear a heavenly law oath, Ning Yu said. No problem. However, you must also swear a heavenly law oath that you must find the alchemist within 3 minutes. Otherwise, you will have to let me go, Mu Ping said coldly. Hee deal. Ning Yu smiled, then his consciousness sank into the tower of Yuzuan. Genie, there's something I need your help with. Ning Yu did not waste words with Genie, directly saying, display the strength of your soul force, let Mu Ping see. Humph. Although Genie was unwilling, under Ning Yu's pressure, she could only fly out of the Yuzuan pagoda and float in front of Mu Ping. Boom. The strength of his qi to liquid soul power was suddenly displayed, crazily pressing down on Mu Ping. Ka. Under the pressure of this frightening soul force, Mu Ping's knees made cracking sounds, and he could not help but kneel on the ground. You can really find a 9th grade alchemist who can liquefy qi. Mu Ping was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Even in the Pill Creation Continent's Alchemy Union, alchemists whose soul power was strong enough to liquefy were rare. Their master, Meng Quan, had a very high position in the Alchemy Union, but the strength of his soul force was only at the level of transforming qi into liquid. You swore an oath to the heavens. Ning Yu didn't care about Mu Ping's reaction. He reminded, I want you to open your mind as soon as possible and let me control you. Mu Ping was silent, not relaxing his mind. You want him to submit to you? Genie looked at Mu Ping, and then looked at Ning Yu. She said, there's no need to speak so much nonsense. I can use my soul force to suppress him, and then you can leave a trace of soul force in his sea of consciousness. One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Speak, what exactly do you want? Ning Yu rolled his eyes and said, of course I want you to let me go. Genie didn't beat around the bush and said directly, I am the chief alchemist of the Jin clan. I have been missing for so long, the Jin clan will definitely be worried. You are like a clay bodhisattva crossing the river, you can't even protect yourself, yet you still want to worry about the Jin clan. Ningyu said, "One price, if you help me control Mu Ping, I can let you move freely in the first few floors of the Yuzuan pagoda." Deal. Jin Yi hurriedly said, afraid that Ningyu would go back on his words. Actually, Jin Yi wasn't an idiot, she knew that Ningyu definitely wouldn't agree to let her go, so when Ningyu said that she could move freely, she immediately expressed her agreement. After all, being cooped up in the 9th floor for a long time, it was hard to not feel a little uneasy. If she could fight for a chance to move freely, Jin Yi definitely wouldn't give it up. What do you want to do? Jin Yi agreeing to Ningyu made things difficult for Mu Ping. Originally, Mu Ping was still planning to find a chance to leave, but now that Jin Yi had joined, he directly gave up. Under the pressure of Jin Yi's powerful soul force, Mu Ping's mind was completely relaxed. Swoosh! Ningyu seized the opportunity, and directly separated out a trace of soul force, stealthily entering Mu Ping's consciousness sea. Thinking about it, Ningyu separated out a trace of soul force, stealthily entering Mu Ping's consciousness sea. Controlling the consciousness sea, according to reason, could make Mu Ping feel apprehensive, but Ningyu had to make preparations. After all, if his consciousness sea shattered, Mu Ping wouldn't die, but if his heart exploded, Mu Ping would definitely die. Feeling the soul force appearing in his consciousness sea and heart, Mu Ping's eyes widened, his face filled with despair. What you? Ningyu rolled his eyes. Go help me deal with Mu Hua, make Mu Hua submit to me, otherwise, I will let you know why flowers are so red. Ka. Mu Ping clenched his fists, not following Ningyu's instructions. Poochie. However, Mu Ping was quickly punished. Ningyu circulated the soul force in his consciousness sea, causing him to feel a pain like his consciousness sea was about to explode. I'll go. Mu Ping couldn't bear the pain in his consciousness sea, he could only say, I will help you deal with Mu Hua. That's more like it. Ningyu gave up on circulating the soul force in Mu Ping's consciousness sea. As long as you listen to me obediently, I guarantee you won't suffer. Like I'll believe you. Mu Ping viciously said in his heart, I'll feign civility first, as long as there's a chance, I will immediately kill you. Shwa. Thinking like this, Mu Ping didn't dare to show it on his face. He stomped on the ground, charging straight at Mu Hua. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and help. Ningyu glanced at Jin Yi and said, You're helping me right now to atone for the crimes of the Jin clan. Otherwise, I'll kill my way into the Jin clan and eradicate it. With just you, even if you cultivate for a few hundred years, you still won't be able to eradicate the Jin clan. Jin Yi curled her lips, moving her feet, joining the other side of the battlefield. Originally, Mu Hua couldn't hold on. Now that Mu Ping and Jin Yi joined the battle, he couldn't hold on anymore. Although Mu Ping's battle strength wasn't very strong, Jin Yi's battle strength was shocking. In just a few minutes, Mu Hua was defeated. It was the same scenario. Jin Yi controlled Mu Hua, Ningyu used his soul force, leaving it in Mu Hua's consciousness sea and heart. Ningyu, do you mean what you said? Just when Ningyu controlled Mu Ping and Mu Ping, the sapling and the law of space flew over. We want Mu Ping and Mu Hua's magical treasures and pellets. Since the sapling and the law of space had reached the 5th and 4th grade Earth sovereign realms, they concealed their auras. Chapter 1477. News. Be careful. Ningyu did not reject the sapling and the law of space. After all, without their help, Ningyu would not be able to control Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Since he had promised to hand the treasures and pills to the sapling, Ningyu would not go back on his word. Shwa. After receiving Ningyu's reply, the sapling and the law of space quickly moved, one towards Mu Ping, the other towards Mu Hua. Ningyu, we have already submitted to you, How dare you go back on your word? Seeing the two cold lights rushing towards them, Mu Ping and Mu Hua revealed a shocked expression and hurriedly said, "Don't make a fuss, you just need to hand over all the treasures and pills on you, I guarantee you will be fine." Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, "Both of them are not easy to deal with. I advise you not to play any tricks, otherwise, if there are any problems, don't come looking for me." After saying that, Ningyu walked towards the ferocious Mad Wolf and Scarred Wolf. The ferocious Mad Wolf and the others were heavily injured, and there were still the world's strange poisons left in their bodies by Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Although it would not erupt now, Ningyu still wanted to find an opportunity to help them. However, the person who would be able to cure the poison in the ferocious Mad Wolf and the others was not Ningyu, but Jean Yi. Jean Yi was a peak 9th grade alchemist. Her soul force had reached the level of transforming energy into liquid. With her help, Ningyu did not have to worry about not being able to cure the poison in the ferocious Mad Wolf and the others. "You too relax." Jean Yi rolled her eyes, then released her powerful soul force, entering the ferocious Mad Wolf and Scarred Wolf's bodies in the blink of an eye. "I have to think of a way to leave the Eastern Army." Ningyu looked at the busying sapling and the Law of Space, as well as Jean Yi who was helping the ferocious Mad Wolf and the others to cure the poison, and mumbled, "I hope Meng Quan is using the Earth Tiger Grass to concoct pills." Drip, drip, time passed. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. After half an hour of tormenting Mu Ping and the others, the sapling and the Law of Space finally managed to extract the magic treasures and pills from their bodies. "Ningyu, thank you." After obtaining the treasures and pills, the sapling and the Law of Space waved at Ningyu and said, "We're going into seclusion. Don't disturb us if there's nothing particularly important." Swoosh. As he spoke, the sapling and the power of space transformed into a series of afterimages that disappeared into his storage ring. Ningyu's face darkened at the sapling's actions. Mu Ping and Mu Hua were Meng Quan's disciples. They had countless treasures and pills on them. There were more than 10 storage bags alone, causing Ningyu to stare blankly. If he had known this would happen, he definitely wouldn't have given the sapling and the Law of Space so easily. Puff, puff. Right at this moment, the ferocious bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the scar-faced bloodthirsty Mad Wolf spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time, their faces turning pale. The only difference was that the blood spat out by the ferocious bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the others was not red, but black. It was clear that the world's poison in their bodies had been forcefully forced out by Jean Yi. Phew! After forcing out the world's poison, Jean Yi let out a long sigh of relief. That was close. Fortunately, her soul power had reached the level of liquefaction. Otherwise, she would have died without a doubt if she came into contact with the world's poison with her current strength. "Let me enter the Tower of Yuzuan." Jean Yi looked at Ningyu and said coldly, "Remember what you said, I can freely enter and exit the first few floors of the Tower of Yuzuan. Don't worry, I'm a man of my word." Ningyu waved his sleeve and a cold light shot out from the Tower of Yuzuan, sucking Jean Yi inside. After doing all this, Ningyu put away the Tower of Yuzuan and fell into deep thought. The reason why Ningyu did not bother with the ferocious bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the others was because he was having a headache. It was still the same question from before. Just how could he leave the Eastern Army? Grandmasters. Just as Ningyu was deep in thought, outside the small palace, the long-haired man said in a clear voice, "The leader wants you to go to the main hall. He says he has something important to do." Shwa. Mu Ping and Mu Hua did not immediately reply to the long-haired man. Instead, they looked at Ningyu, wanting to seek Ningyu's approval. "Open the array, go." Although Ningyu was very unwilling to go, he still said in a low voice, "When you get there, you should know what to say and what not to say." Ningyu was not afraid that Mu Ping and the others would play any trick. After all, he had left some soul power in their sea of consciousness and heart. As long as they dared to have any crooked thoughts, Ningyu would definitely not spare them. Open! Mu Ping waved his hands repeatedly and then suddenly blasted out. Gotcha! Following Mu Ping's shout, the array let out a clear cracking sound, but it did not break. Ning Yu was very clear that this situation was inevitable. If the array could be broken so easily, Mu Ping and Mu Huo would have acted earlier and would not have waited until now. Gotcha! 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 A full 3 minutes passed. With every passing minute, a cracking sound came from all around. 3 minutes later, 3 cracking sounds rang out. The array around the small palace was finally broken. What about them? Although the array was broken, Mu Ping and Mu Huo were not in a hurry to leave. Instead, they pointed to the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf and the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf and said, "Should we bring them over together? Bring them. When the time comes, just say that the 2 elixirs were handed over to me. These 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves are now listening to my orders." Ning Yu thought about it and said, "Anyway, when we get to the main hall and see Mengquan, there are some things that can be said and some things that cannot be said. We know that." Mu Ping and Mu Huo exchanged glances and then moved, leaving the small palace. "Let's go too." Ning Yu smiled at the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others and said, "When we get to the main hall, don't say anything. Just act according to my signal." Understood. The ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf and the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf were not fools. They knew that this place was very dangerous. Only by following closely behind Ning Yu and obeying Ning Yu's orders could they survive. Otherwise, they would not even know how they died. You guys. At the entrance of the small palace, the long-haired man looked at Mu Ping and Mu Huo, then at Ning Yu and the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others, asking hesitantly, "What happened?" "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask." Ning Yu said coldly, "Why did Mengquan call Mu Huo and Mu Ping? Tell me." "I'm not sure either. It seems that the other 3 armies have genius alchemists who came over and want to compete with our Eastern army in alchemy." The long-haired man did not dare to be negligent and said hurriedly. After all, the long-haired man's life was in Ning Yu's hands. As long as Ning Yu willed it, he would die without a doubt. Therefore, Ning Yu's questions still had to be answered at the first possible moment. "These Emperor-grade essence crystals are for you. Go and spread some rumors in the Eastern Army. When necessary, you have to expose this matter." Chapter 1478. Ma Qinshan. Under Mu Ping and Mu Huo's lead, Ning Yu didn't encounter any obstruction all along the way, and he quickly arrived before the great hall where Mengquan and the others were. "Come in." Just as Ning Yu and the rest stopped, Mengquan's indifferent voice sounded in their ears. Creak. After that, the door to the hall slowly opened. Taking a deep breath, Mu Ping and Mu Huo stepped into the hall. Behind Mu Ping and the others, Ning Yu and the 2 bloodthirsty berserk wolves also entered. Sure enough, there are many more people here. As soon as he entered the main hall, Ning Yu discovered that there were 6 more martial artists in the main hall. More accurately, there were 6 alchemists. Among them, there were 3 older alchemists who had reached the early stage of the 9th grade. The 3 young alchemists had reached the peak of the 8th grade. The 6 alchemists split into 3 teams and stood behind Shido the Venerable One and the others. Dong dong dong. Shido the Venerable One tapped his chair with his right hand. "Mengquan, who are you guys going to send to fight? We've been waiting for so long." Shido the Venerable One and the others were old foxes. During this period of time, Mengquan used the earth dragon grass that Ning Yu handed over and refined a medicinal pill that emitted a terrifying medicinal fragrance. According to Shido the Venerable One and the others' speculations, the pill's quality was infinitely close to grade 10, and it was of the highest grade among all pills. Who wouldn't want a medicinal pill of this quality? Even so, Shido the Venerable One and the others were not confident about winning by force, so they made a request. An alchemy competition. The side that could refine the highest quality pill within the specified time would be able to obtain the pill. Initially, Shido the Venerable One and the others thought they would have to go through a lot of trouble, but Meng Quan agreed to it without any hesitation. Moreover, Meng Quan added another prize: 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Shido the Venerable One and the others did not expect Meng Qiuaning to agree so easily. As far as they were concerned, 100,000 Emperor-grade essence crystals compared to that medicinal pill was completely not on the same level. Without much thought, Shido the Venerable One and the others agreed to it right away. Since an alchemy challenge was going to be held, Shido the Venerable One and the others naturally called the alchemy geniuses from their respective armies. There were 6 alchemists on Shido the Venerable's side. 3 of them were at the early stage of rank 9, and 3 of them were at the peak of rank 8. With such a lineup, Shido the Venerable and the others were fearless. After all, in the Eastern Army, apart from Meng Quan, there were only 2 alchemists, Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Moreover, their alchemy level was only at the early stage of the 9th level, and they were relatively old. In this alchemy competition, it would definitely be a competition between different age groups. It did not make sense for Shido the Venerable One to send a 20-year-old alchemist while Meng Quan sent Mu Ping or Mu Hua. "Don't worry." Meng Quan's expression was calm as he said, "Mu Ping will fight on my side." Whoosh! Mu Ping took a step forward and unleashed his 9th-grade soul force. "Humph! Don't think that a 9th-grade alchemist is amazing, we also have one here." Shido the Venerable snorted. The rules of the alchemy competition are simple. 2 wins out of 3 matches. The one who refines the highest quality elixir within the stipulated time will be the winner. Ma Qianshan, you'll compete with Mu Ping. Ma Qianshan's cultivation was at the peak of rank 8 Earth Supreme, and his soul force was at the early stage of rank 9. In the Western Army, Ma Qianshan's alchemy level could be ranked first. It was said that Ma Qianshan was only a step away from becoming a middle rank 9 alchemist. Currently, he could already refine middle rank 9 elixirs. Ma Qianshan did not hesitate. He went to the center of the hall and extended his right hand. "Please advise me." "I dare not advise you. Let's see who's the real deal." Mu Ping did not dare to be careless against Ma Qianshan. After all, Ma Qianshan's alchemy level was not inferior to his. The first match is to refine a 9th-grade elixir, the Yang Initiation Elixir. Shido the Venerable shook his wrist, and 2 storage pouches flew out. One flew toward Mu Ping, and the other toward Ma Qianshan. Shido the Venerable did not play any tricks on the herbs because he knew very well that it would be very difficult to trick Meng Quan. "Rise." After catching the storage pouches, Mu Ping waved his sleeves, and a cauldron appeared in his hand. The cauldron was small at first, but as time passed, it grew bigger and bigger. In the end, the cauldron's shadow almost covered Mu Ping. "Compared to me refining the Yang Initiation Elixir, it's not that easy." Ma Qianshan did not mind Mu Ping starting to refine the elixir. On the surface, the Yang Initiation Elixir was only an initial rank 9 elixir, but it was very special. The difficulty of refining it had reached middle rank 9. Coincidentally, Ma Qianshan had refined the Yang Initiation Elixir many times when he was in the Western Army, so he was very familiar with the refinement process. Even with his eyes closed, Ma Qianshan could refine the Yang Initiation Elixir in a short time. Therefore, Ma Qianshan was not in a hurry. He slowly took out the cauldron, took out the herbs from his storage pouch, and threw them into the cauldron. The Yang Initiation Elixir is an initial rank 9 elixir, but the difficulty of refining it is something that even ordinary middle rank 9 elixirs can't compare to. At the corner of the hall, Ningyu murmured. Swoosh! Ningyu's voice did not escape Meng Quan's ears. With a swift movement, Meng Quan appeared in front of Ningyu in the blink of an eye. "You know alchemy too?" Meng Quan asked. "Just a little." Ningyu was terrified and hurriedly said, "Recently, Grandmaster Mu Ping and Grandmaster Mu Hua have given me a lot of pointers, causing my skill in alchemy to improve a lot. What level of alchemist are you? Meng Quan did not seem to believe Ningyu. He displayed his powerful perception and entered Ningyu's body. Feeling Meng Quan's perception enter his body, Ningyu's mind shuddered and he hurriedly guarded his mind, hiding all the secrets in his body. Peak rank 8 alchemist, not bad at all. Meng Quan's perception did not linger on Ningyu for too long and quickly withdrew it. After withdrawing his perception, Meng Quan nodded and said, "Tell me, Mu Ping or Ma Qianshan, who do you think will win?" Meng Quan threw this difficult problem to Ningyu, wanting to probe Ningyu. Hearing that, Ningyu's expression was grave as he turned his head to look at Mu Ping and Ma Qianshan. On the surface, the two of them were equally matched in pill refinement speed, and the process was also very smooth. But Ningyu was very clear that according to this situation, Ma Qianshan would definitely form the pill ahead of time. Moreover, the quality of the yang entering pill that Ma Qianshan refined should be able to reach supreme grade, unless Mu Ping could refine a transcendent grade yang entering pill within the stipulated time, otherwise, he would lose without a doubt. Transcendent grade yang entering pill? Most likely, even Meng Quan did not have much confidence. Hence, Ningyu concluded that without too many unforeseen events, Mu Ping would lose without a doubt. You're so sure that Mu Ping will lose? Chapter 1479. Fenglu Pill, thank you, leader. Hearing Meng Quan's words, Ningyu revealed an excited expression and hurriedly said, "There are 2 reasons why I believe Master Mu Ping will lose. First, Master Mu Ping's soul energy is slightly weaker than Ma Qianshan's, and refining the yang entering pill has an extremely high requirement for soul energy. If one's soul energy is slightly weaker, the refinement might fail. Secondly, Ma Qianshan's refining technique is much more brilliant than Master Mu Ping's. He seems to be using the 5 elements pill refinement technique." Ningyu appeared very excited, as if Meng Quan had already agreed to accept him as a disciple. The reason why Ningyu did this was to dispel Meng Quan's worries. Obviously, Ningyu had conquered Meng Quan. Although it had not completely dispelled the worries in Meng Quan's heart, he was not going to give in. Not bad. You can tell that Ma Qianshan is using the 5 elements pill concoction technique. Not bad. Meng Quan nodded and said, "In the second round of the alchemy competition, you'll come. If you're able to win, I'll take you as my disciple." This, Ningyu opened his mouth, wanting to say something but hesitating. "Don't worry." Seeing Ningyu's expression, Meng Quan smiled faintly and said, "You are a peak 8th grade alchemist. Refining ordinary 8th grade medicinal pills shouldn't be difficult. Alright. Since the leader trusts me so much, I promise I won't let you down." Ningyu clenched his teeth and patted his chest. "You promise? You're just a peak 8th grade alchemist, what do you have to guarantee it? With your toes?" Shido the Venerable One was scornful. He responded proudly, "Ma Qianshan will definitely win the first round. In other words, if you take part in the second round, you'll be competing with him in alchemy." Ma Qianshan was an early-stage rank 9 alchemist, and he was undoubtedly the best alchemist on Shido the Venerable's side. Shido the Venerable One and the others had discussed it. As long as Ma Qianshan could win, they would let him continue fighting. Winning 3 matches in a row and obtaining the medicinal pill, wouldn't that be wonderful? Who cares if he's Ma Qianshan or Niu Qianshan? One should never admit defeat in an alchemy competition. Otherwise, I will definitely not participate in the second round," Ningyu uttered coldly. He did not respect Shido the Venerable One at all. Wasn't it Ma Qianshan? Not to mention Ma Qianshan, even if Niu Qianshan came, Ningyu would not be afraid. After all, Ma Qianshan was only an early-stage 9th grade alchemist, and his level of alchemy was not that high. Moreover, Meng Quan had said that the second round would be refining a grade 8 medicinal pill. It wasn't the slightest exaggeration to say that in terms of refining grade 8 medicinal pills, everyone present, including Meng Quan, wasn't a match for Ning Yu. It's good to be confident, but if you're overconfident, you'll become arrogant. Instead of being enraged, Shido the Venerable One responded, "If you can defeat Ma Qianshan in the alchemy challenge, I won't be called Shido the Venerable One anymore. I'll change my name to Shido the Venerable One. Remember what you said." Ning Yu was fearless. "Don't go back on your word when you lose. Young fella, you're indeed arrogant." Shido the Venerable One was a little angry. Capable people are naturally arrogant. Ning Yu went tit for tat and did not back down at all. Ning Yu's thoughts were simple. He was representing Meng Quan now. As long as Meng Quan and Shido the Venerable One had a huge grudge against each other, everything would be worth it. After all, Meng Quan and the rest would be attacking Giant Shield City in a few days. Given Giant Shield City's current defensive strength, unless the palatial lord of the Centauria Palace successfully performed the soul guidance technique and set Meng Quan and the rest on fire, the Giant Shield City would not be able to withstand the attack of the army. Otherwise, Giant Shield City would definitely not be able to withstand the attack of the army. Click. Meng Quan's expression was cold. Just as he was about to retort, he heard a click. On the other side, a crisp sound was suddenly heard from the alchemy furnace above Mu Ping's head. "How's that possible?" Mu Ping looked up at the alchemy furnace above him with his mouth agape. He was speechless for a long time. "I'm a grade 9 alchemist, so why can't I refine the yang entering pill?" Since he failed to refine the yang entering pill, it meant that he had lost the first challenge. Rise. As expected, Ma Qianshan slapped the alchemy furnace with his right hand and shouted. The lid flew up at once, and a pill shot out of the furnace. Ma Qianshan was so fast that he caught the pill in the blink of an eye. "I'm sorry." Ma Qianshan curled his lips as he held the yang entering pill. He looked disdainfully at Mu Ping and said, "Among the 4 armies in 100 Flower City, only your master's alchemy level is higher than mine. As long as your master doesn't make a move, I'll be invincible." Click, click. Mu Ping clenched his fists and gritted his teeth when Ma Qianshan openly mocked him. Mu Ping was vexed. If he had refined the yang entering pill seriously, it would not have exploded. He had only exploded because he was too careless and anxious. Are you sure you're invincible among the 4 armies in 100 Flowers City, as long as the leader doesn't make a move?" All of a sudden, a discordant voice was heard. Ning Yu took a step forward and said, "Apart from the leader, there are at least 2 to 3 alchemists who are better than you in this palace. Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like that?" Ma Qianshan uttered coldly, "I can easily defeat a low-rank alchemist like you even if I only use 50% of my strength." Who doesn't know how to brag? Ning Yu was not intimidated by Ma Qianshan. He continued, "If you're so capable, you'll only use 50% of your strength in the second challenge." "Fine, 50%. Ma Qianshan was so furious that he was about to explode. "Shut up." Shido the Venerable could not bear to watch any more. If Ma Qianshan and Ning Yu continued to talk, they would surely be dragged into a ditch. The second challenge is to refine the wind dew pill. Shido the Venerable flicked his wrist, and 2 interspatial pouches flew out. One flew towards Ma Qianshan, while the other flew towards Ning Yu. The participants for the second challenge had already been determined. Ning Yu would be on Meng Quan's side, while Shido the Venerable would be on Ma Qianshan's side. Therefore, the first and second challenges were seamless. Rise. Ma Qianshan did not even rest and immediately started refining the wind dew pill. The wind dew pill was a pinnacle 8th grade elixir, and it wasn't too difficult to refine. The time limit was 1 hour, and whoever refined the wind dew pill with the highest quality would be the winner. All in all, the 3 quasi-heavenly sovereigns did not believe that Ma Qianshan would fail. A ninth-grade alchemist could refine an eighth-grade elixir in 1 hour. Without a doubt, he could definitely refine a supreme-grade wind-dew pill. Why aren't you starting yet? Shido the Venerable stared at Ningyu and kindly reminded, with Ma Qianshan's alchemy skills, he can refine a supreme-grade wind-dew pill in half an hour at most. If you don't start now, you'll lose. What's the hurry? We have an hour, anyway. What does it have to do with me if Ma Qianshan can refine the wind-dew pill in advance? Chapter 1480. A duel. Shido the Venerable One looked closely at Ningyu again. He widened his eyes and asked in shock, "Have you lost your mind?" In actuality, he could not be blamed for being surprised. Ma Qianshan can surely refine a supreme-grade wind-dew pill. According to Ningyu, is he going to refine a supreme wind-dew pill? The wind-dew pill was a pill at the peak of rank 8. Even Ma Qianshan could not refine a supreme wind-dew pill when he was at his peak, let alone Ningyu. What does it have to do with you whether I've lost my mind or not? Ningyu rolled his eyes at Shido the Venerable and approached Meng Quanshu. Chief, there's something wrong with my furnace recently, so I can't withstand the wind-dew pill's impact. Ah. Shido the Venerable laughed maniacally. You don't even have an alchemy furnace, yet you're trying to refine a supreme wind-dew pill? You must be dreaming. I'm sure you're thinking about it. Ningyu looked at Shido the Venerable. I don't have an alchemy furnace, so Ma Qianshan will surely win this duel. Humph. So what if you have an alchemy furnace? The outcome is set, Ma Qianshan will surely win. Shido the Venerable scoffed. That's not necessarily the case. If you can provide me with an alchemy furnace, I'll surely defeat Ma Qianshan. Ningyu was in high spirits at the moment, and he was not afraid of anything. He looked like he was the only one in the world. Okay, I'll provide you with an alchemy furnace. With a flash of thought, Shido the Venerable retrieved an alchemy furnace and tossed it to Ningyu. Pow! Ningyu caught the alchemy furnace and weighed it in his hand. This alchemy furnace is at most ranked 70th or 80th on the heaven ranking of alchemy furnaces. Forget it, I'll make do with it. Ningyu did not bargain with Shido the Venerable One anymore. He tossed the furnace into midair, then his soul power gushed out and channeled into the furnace. Although the wind-dew pill was a peak grade 8 pill, it could definitely be concocted using a furnace ranked in the top 100 of the sky list. Ningyu was arguing with Shido the Venerable One because he wanted to disrupt Ma Qianshan's plan. Ningyu's actions were beginning to show results. At the beginning, Ma Qianshan was prepared to refine transcendent-grade wind-dew pills. But after Ningyu's disturbance, Ma Qianshan changed his mind and decided to refine supreme-grade wind-dew pills. After all, refining transcendent-grade wind-dew pills was risky. Ma Qianshan did not want to fail miserably. Master, can he defeat Ma Qianshan? Seeing Ningyu starting to refine the wind-dew pill, Mu Ping bit his lips and said hesitantly. Mu Ping had been brooding over his loss in the first round of the alchemy competition, feeling that he had let Meng Quan down. If Ningyu failed as well, it would mean that their Eastern Route army had failed. Meng Quan would have to hand over the pills he had just refined. Let's wait and see. Meng Quan said expressionlessly. His soul power is at the peak of grade 8, but I'm not sure about his alchemy level. Sizzle, sizzle. While Meng Quan and Mu Ping were conversing, Ningyu had already begun refining the wind-dew pill. Ningyu's speed was very fast. Almost every second, he would throw a stalk of medicinal herb into the pill furnace. At the same time, a flame appeared on the fingertips of Ningyu's right hand, and it kept burning the bottom of the furnace. Ningyu did not release the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beasts flame. After all, Meng Quan was here, and Ningyu was worried that the latter would snatch the 10,000 beasts flame. Ah! Ma Qianshan, who was next to him, did not forget to look at Ningyu in between refining pills. Ma Qianshan laughed out loud when he saw Ouyang Ming. You must have lost your mind. How can you refine the wind-dew pill in this way? If you can refine the wind-dew pill, even if it's an inferior grade wind-dew pill, I'll concede defeat to you. Ma Qianshan did not hide the mockery in his tone at all. He, what's the use of conceding defeat to me? Ningyu smiled and said, if I can refine the wind-dew pill, will you hand over your alchemy furnace to me? Ma Qianshan's furnace was ranked 60th on the heaven ranking of alchemy furnaces, and it was very good. Ningyu had the incorporeal furnace, which was ranked 30th, but it was not convenient for him to use it. If he could win Ma Qianshan's furnace, at least Ningyu would not need to worry about his furnace for a period of time. Okay, we'll do as you say. A cold smile appeared on Ma Qianshan's face as he said, however, if you are unable to refine the wind-dew pill, I will take your life. When Ma Qianshan uttered the word fate, the entire hall fell silent. Shi Do the Venerable One, Nan Do the Venerable One, and the others were shocked. Bet with my life? Before they came, they had discussed that they would only snatch the pills this time, instead of fighting Mengquan. Now, Ma Qianshan decided to bet with his life on his own. This doesn't seem fair. Ningyu frowned. If I win, I'll only win your furnace, but if you win, you'll win my life. There's no such thing as fairness in this world. Fairness is in the hands of the capable. Ma Qianshan was disdainful. When you're stronger than me, you can set the rules too. If that's the case, I can set the rules too. Before Ningyu could speak, Mengquan said indifferently, in my opinion, all of you should stop refining pills. Hurry up and leave behind the Emperor-grade essence crystals and pill refining furnace, then all of you can scram back to wherever you came from. Mengquan's domineering words made Shi Do the Venerable One and the others look terrible. In particular, Ma Qianshan was speechless. He was competing with Ningyu in terms of capabilities. Great, Mengquan was competing with him too. If he could defeat Ningyu, Mengquan could kill him effortlessly. Let's talk this out. The second round of the alchemy competition has been going on for 5 minutes, so let's finish the 3 rounds first. Shi Do the Venerable One did not want anything to go wrong at this time. As long as Ma Qianshan won the round, Mengquan would hand over the pills that he refined earlier to them according to the agreement. Based on Mengquan's character, he would not go back on his word. Shi Do the Venerable One was displeased that Ma Qianshan acted on impulse at this time. The Venerable One decided to make Ma Qianshan reflect on himself when he returned to the West Road Army. Let's continue with the alchemy. Mengquan waved his hand and returned to his chair. As for the bet between them, it'll be cancelled and a new one will be held. Whoever refines the wind-dew pill first can order the other party to do something for them unconditionally without going back on their word. Sure. Shi Do the Venerable One was very confident in Ma Qianshan, so he agreed to it without any hesitation. But I think we should change it a little. We shouldn't look at who refines the wind-dew pill first, but who refines a supreme-grade wind-dew pill first. Shi Do the Venerable One was not a fool. If they competed with inferior-grade wind-dew pills, they would likely fail miserably. Chapter 1481. Chapter 1481. Chapter 1481 Battle of Wits. Alright, let's see who can refine the supreme-grade wind-dew pill first. Mengquan did not argue too much. He nodded and said, next, no one is allowed to interfere with their pill refinement. Whoever dares to disobey will be killed without mercy. Along with the 3 words kill without mercy, coming out of Mengquan's mouth, the temperature of the entire audience hall seemed to have instantly dropped to the freezing point. Shi Do the Venerable One and the others tensed up and dared not say a word. Mengquan's strength is actually so strong. Shi Do the Venerable One and the others were appalled. They knew that Mengquan was strong, but they didn't expect him to be this strong. In their view, Mengquan was also a quasi-heavenly sovereign like them, so how strong could he be? But now they realized that they were wrong. Very wrong. Although Meng Quan's cultivation was only at the quasi-heavenly sovereign realm, his overall strength could confront ordinary heavenly sovereigns. In other words, as long as Meng Quan was willing, it would be very difficult for the three of them to leave this place today. Gulp. Shido the Venerable One could not help but gulp and fall silent. At this moment, Shido the Venerable One only wanted Ma Qianshan to refine supreme-grade Wind-Dew pills as soon as possible so that they could leave with the pills refined by Meng Quan. If they stayed any longer, they were afraid that Meng Quan would go back on his word. Chi. On the other side, Ma Qianshan and Ning Yu were not affected by Meng Quan's aura. They were refining the Wind-Dew pill in an orderly manner. As the refining methods used by Ma Qianshan and Ning Yu were a little different, all the pill masters in the main hall did not dare to confirm who would refine the best grade Wind-Dew pill first. Ma Qianshan's alchemy technique is still the 5 elements alchemy technique. With this technique and the strength of his soul force, he should be able to refine a top-grade Wind-Dew pill in around 40 minutes. Mu Ping had lost to Ma Qianshan in the first match. In the second match, he had placed all of his attention on Ma Qianshan. As for Ning Yu, Mu Ping only gave him a quick glance and asked in confusion, "What kind of alchemy technique is Ning Yu using? Why does it look even better than Ma Qianshan's?" Powerful my ass. He just threw all the medicinal ingredients into the pill furnace. It's as if he has nothing to lose. Mu He rolled his eyes and said, "According to my observation, he might not even be able to refine a low-grade Wind-Dew pill, let alone a top-grade Wind-Dew pill." "That may be the case," Mu Ping said with a slightly serious expression, "but I still feel that something will go wrong. What other problems could there be?" 40 minutes later, Ma Qianshan will refine the supreme-grade Wind-Dew pill, while Ning Yu will refine the low-grade Wind-Dew pill or the explosion pill. Mu Hua said, "Things have already been decided. It definitely won't go wrong just because you think there's a problem." "But," Mu Ping frowned. He still felt that something was wrong. "There are no buts. Although I don't like Ma Qianshan, I have to admit that apart from Master, no one in the 4 armies can beat him in alchemy." Mu Hua waved his hand and said, "What we need to think about is how to tell Master that we're under Ning Yu's control and ask him to help us. You want to betray me?" At that moment, Ning Yu's indifferent voice suddenly rang in Mu Hua's ears. Mu Hua's mouth opened wide in shock and his body trembled slightly. He hadn't said what he'd said earlier, so how did Ning Yu hear him? Could it be that Ning Yu's ears are Shunfeng ears, and he can eavesdrop on my thoughts? "That's right, I am Shunfeng ears." Ning Yu's voice rang in Mu Hua's ears again. He said coldly, "This is the only time. If I find out that any of you have any thoughts of rebelling against me again, I'll kill you without mercy." Although Ning Yu had said "kill without mercy" in a light tone, it was like a thunderclap in Mu Hua's ears. Mu Hua was terrified. Ning Yu had already taken control of his sea of consciousness and heart. If Ning Yu wanted to, he would be done for immediately. Going against Ning Yu was simply courting death. With Ning Yu's warning, Mu Hua chose to keep his mouth shut and dared not say a word. Mu Hua was very afraid that Ning Yu would really kill him. After all, Ning Yu was not afraid of anything, so he might really kill him. Mu Hua felt wrong that he would die in Ning Yu's hands for no reason. Therefore, Mu Hua made up his mind that he would only do one thing from now on until Ning Yu and Ma Qianshan's pill refinement results were determined, and that was to keep his mouth shut. Sizzle, sizzle. Time passed slowly. In the first 10 minutes, Ma Qianshan refined all of the medicinal herbs and began to compress the medicinal liquid. On the other hand, Ning Yu continued to refine the medicinal liquid. Ma Qianshan refined the medicinal herbs one by one, and he did not refine more than 2 at most. On the other hand, Ning Yu threw all of the medicinal herbs into the furnace in one go. Ma Qianshan will win for sure. Shido the Venerable One was excited to see that Ma Qianshan had entered the stage of compressing the medicinal liquid. Ningyu continued to refine the medicinal herbs. At this rate, Ningyu would not be able to refine all of the medicinal herbs by the time Ma Qianshan completed the second step of compressing the medicinal liquid. Almost everyone in the hall was not optimistic about Ningyu. Needless to say, the only ones who were optimistic about Ningyu were the ferocious bloodthirsty madwolf and the scarred bloodthirsty madwolf. The two bloodthirsty berserk wolves had witnessed Ningyu's true strength. A mere grade 8 pill would not be a problem for Ningyu. Not to mention refining a supreme grade wind dew pill, the ferocious bloodthirsty madwolf and the scarred bloodthirsty madwolf believed that not only could Ningyu refine the wind dew pill, but he could also refine a supreme wind dew pill. Ningyu's refinement speed was slower than Ma Qianshan's because he was considering whether to refine a supreme grade wind dew pill or a supreme wind dew pill. Based on Ningyu's alchemy level, he would probably be able to refine a supreme wind dew pill easily. If Ma Qianshan knew what the ferocious bloodthirsty madwolf and the others were thinking, he would probably vomit blood. Was it really that easy to refine a supreme wind dew pill? The answer was obviously no. Even though Ma Qianshan was a grade 9 alchemist, he was only 10% confident that he could refine a supreme wind dew pill. Ma Qianshan should be able to refine a supreme wind dew pill in 30 minutes. Ningyu frowned and fell into deep thought. The ferocious bloodthirsty madwolf and the others were right. Ningyu was in a dilemma at the moment. He initially wanted to refine a supreme grade wind dew pill, but he was afraid that Ma Qianshan would cheat and refine a supreme wind dew pill at the last moment. It was worth noting that they were not the only ones competing in the competition, but Meng Quan, Shido the Venerable One, and the others were also competing. If Ma Qianshan could refine a supreme wind dew pill at the last moment, even if O Yangming managed to refine a supreme wind dew pill before him, he would still lose the competition between Meng Quan and Shido the Venerable One. Should I let Meng Quan win or should I win? This is a problem. Forget it, I'll refine a supreme wind dew pill to avoid any unforeseen events. After some thought, Ningyu finally decided to refine a supreme wind dew pill. After all, Ma Qianshan was very cunning, and Ningyu was determined to win the competition. If he won this battle, Ningyu would be able to leave a good impression in Meng Quan's heart. Chapter 1482. Chapter 1482. Chapter 1482. Presumptuous time passed by slowly like a cloud. In the blink of an eye, 40 minutes had passed. There were only 20 minutes left before the 1-hour time limit. Ma Qianshan and Ningyu were not in a hurry to form their pills. They seemed to have discussed this beforehand, and were still burning the bottom of the furnace with flames. Crackle! Crackling sounds could be heard from the two pill furnaces. It was clear and crisp. What's going on? After 40 minutes, Shido the Venerable One's face took on a ghastly expression when he saw that Ma Qianshan had not formed his pill. Apart from Shido the Venerable One, even Nando the Venerable One, Beido the Venerable One, and the remaining 5 alchemists were dumbfounded. Now that the pill was formed, Ma Qianshan could definitely refine a top-grade wind dew pill. As long as he could refine a supreme-grade wind dew pill, he would definitely win. What was Ma Qianshan thinking? Was he going to refine a supreme wind dew pill? Shido the Venerable One and the others had grave looks on their faces at this thought. The transcendent grade wind dew pill was not that easy to refine. They wanted to remind Ma Qianshan so that he could form the pill as soon as possible, but they were also worried that they would disturb Ma Qianshan and cause him to fall short of success. For a moment they were caught in a dilemma. This is bad. That kid might be able to refine the wind dew pill before Ma Qianshan. South Dipper the Venerable One took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, West Dipper the Venerable One, quickly think of a way to contact Ma Qianshan and ask him to form the pills as soon as possible. You think I don't want to contact you? Shido the Venerable One was furious. First of all, Ma Qianshan mustn't be affected during the alchemy process, or his pills might explode. Secondly, Meng Quan said that nobody can disturb them during the process, or they'll be killed without mercy. Sigh. Southern Dipper the Venerable One sighed helplessly. In actuality, Southern Dipper the Venerable One knew the key to this, but he was anxious. As long as Ma Qianshan could win this pill refining competition, they would be able to obtain the medicinal pills that Meng Quan refined. 78 stalks of earth dragon grass as the main ingredient, in addition to several other precious herbs to refine a pill, it would definitely be able to regenerate flesh and bones from the dead. As expected, Ma Qianshan also wants to refine the transcendent wind dew pill. While he was refining pills, Ningyu did not forget to glance at Ma Qianshan. At this moment, Ningyu felt a little lucky. Fortunately, he was preparing to refine the wind dew pill. Otherwise, he would have fallen into Ma Qianshan's trap. You want to compete with me to see who can refine a transcendent grade wind dew pill first? You are still lacking a little. With a smirk, Ningyu controlled his soul force to enter the cauldron and started to refine the wind dew pill. 5 minutes passed. A cold light shot out from Ningyu's eyes, and then he slapped the pill furnace with his right hand. No one noticed that a flame suddenly appeared in Ningyu's palm when he was slapping the pill furnace. Demonic Lotus Flame. Ningyu hid the demonic lotus flame very deeply, causing Meng Quan to not notice any clues. Gotcha. Due to the demonic lotus fire's fearsome pressure, Shido the Venerable One's furnace broke into two. My cauldron! Shido the Venerable One yelled after the furnace broke. He was so furious that he almost passed out. The furnace was ranked 70th on the heaven ranking of alchemy furnaces, and it was extremely precious. Now that it was smashed by Ningyu, how could Shido the Venerable One not be furious? It's inevitable for a furnace to explode during pill refinement. Seeing as Shido the Venerable One was about to make a move, Meng Quan calmly said, My furnace has exploded many times when I refined pills in the past, so don't make a fuss about nothing. I'm making a fuss about nothing? Shido the Venerable One was so furious that he was about to cry. He was not making a fuss about nothing. He was clearly feeling sorry for his furnace. I'd like to see what pill he's going to refine. Shido the Venerable One had a grim look on his face. I saw a pill fly out of the furnace just now, and he's holding it in his hand. Can you take it out now? Boom! At the spur of the moment, Ma Qianshan slapped the furnace as well. The lid flew up, and a pill appeared on Ma Qianshan's palm. The pill was white with wisps of white gas surrounding it, and it looked delightful. A supreme wind dew pill. Unquestionably, Ma Qianshan refined a supreme wind dew pill. Ah! Shido the Venerable One looked up and laughed maniacally when he sensed the rich aura released by the pill in Ma Qianshan's palm. He stared at Meng Quan and asked, Can you take the pill out now? Ma Qianshan refined a supreme wind dew pill, which means that we've won. Don't just stand there. Quickly hand the pill over to us. We need to return to our respective armies as soon as possible. Thud. 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 Instead of answering Shido the Venerable One, Meng Quan tapped his seat with his right hand and asked, Do you really think that Ma Qianshan won? Why? How could it be fake? Shido the Venerable One was startled. If you don't believe me, you can check it yourself. Please check it, Commander of the Eastern Army. Ma Qianshan approached Meng Quan and handed the wind dew pill to him without being humble. Ma Qianshan frowned when he accepted the wind dew pill from Ma Qianshan's hand. He released his soul power to examine it carefully. In actuality, Meng Quan had already determined that Ma Qianshan refined a supreme wind dew pill. However, Ningyu sent him a voice transmission earlier and asked him to buy some time for him. Although Meng Quan was puzzled, he did as he was told without asking any questions. This pill is just so. Meng Quan returned the wind dew pill to Ma Qianshan. You're not worthy of being arrogant for refining a pill of this quality in 45 minutes. Meng Quan, I'm asking you if Ma Qianshan refined a supreme wind dew pill. Shido the Venerable One did not want to argue with Meng Quan here, so he uttered coldly, as the commander of the Eastern Army and an elder of the Alchemy Guild, are you going to go back on your word? Meng Quan, apart from the pill, you still have to give us 400,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Nan Do the Venerable One scoffed. Hand over the pill and 400,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals, or I'll spread the news right away. Big Dipper the Venerable One was even more ruthless. He retrieved a crystal ball and held it tightly with his right hand. Big Dipper the Venerable One's intention was clear. If you go back on your word, I'll crush the crystal ball and let the Northern Army spread the news. Once the news spreads, Meng Quan's reputation will definitely be affected. By then, apart from the 4 armies, Meng Quan's reputation would be greatly affected even in the Alchemy Guild. Why do you want to spread the news? At this moment Ningyu slowly exhaled a mouthful of foul air and revealed a puzzled expression as he said, Are you going to tell everyone that Ma Qianshan has lost to me, and you guys are still making trouble here? Chapter 1483. Soul Power. Shido the Venerable One and the others were dumbfounded when they heard Ningyu. He had seen arrogant people before, but he had never seen someone this arrogant. It was already confirmed that Ma Qianshan had refined a transcendent grade wind dew pill. Why were you still so arrogant? Meng Quan reacted differently from Shido the Venerable One and the others. He didn't think that Ningyu was arrogant. Instead, he asked, Is it done? Ningyu nodded. It's done. All right. Meng Quan fiercely slammed the seat beneath him with his right hand and shouted loudly. Gotcha. Due to Meng Quan's great strength, the chair beneath him was directly smashed into pieces. The chair shattered, but Meng Quan was not bothered at all. He said to Shido the Venerable One, Get ready for the 3rd alchemy challenge. The 2nd one has ended. It's not a problem to prepare for the 3rd match, but you have to first… No, why do you have to prepare for the 3rd match? Shido the Venerable One seemed to have come to a realization as he spoke. You've clearly lost the first 2 alchemy battles, so why do you still want to carry on with the 3rd one? Because I won the 2nd alchemy competition. Ningyu took a step forward and opened his right hand. In his palm, there was a white pill lying flat on top of it. Compared to the elixir refined by Ma Qianshan, the quality of the wind dew elixir, refined by Ningyu, was slightly better. Transcendent grade wind dew pill. That's right, Ningyu had also refined a transcendent grade wind dew pill. How is this possible? Ma Qianshan's eyes widened. He snatched the elixir pill from Ningyu's hand and exclaimed, Didn't your elixir furnace explode? How can you still refine a transcendent grade wind dew pill? Ma Qianshan's expression was very special, as if he had seen a ghost. If Ningyu really refined a supreme wind dew pill, wouldn't that mean that he had lost this round? Losing 1 round wasn't a big deal. The key was that he had a bet with Ningyu. Whoever lost would suffer. Who told you that you can't refine the transcendent grade wind dew pill if the furnace explodes? Your thinking is very dangerous. Ningyu shrugged and said, The wind dew pill is just an 8th grade pill, and I'm a peak 8th grade alchemist. It's natural for me to refine a supreme grade wind dew pill. I really don't understand why you're making such a fuss. Poochie. Ma Qianshan could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. A matter of course? Even I, a 9th grade alchemist, had to put in a lot of effort to refine a supreme grade wind dew pill. You are only a tier 8 pill refiner, yet you claim that refining transcendent grade wind dew pills is a matter of course. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself to others. Ma Qianshan, do you admit that this is a supreme wind dew pill? Meng Quan appeared to be more humane. He did not force Ma Qianshan, but instead released his aura, as if he had the urge to suppress Ma Qianshan at any moment. Poochie. This time, Ma Qianshan really vomited a mouthful of blood. Even if Meng Quan did not force him with his aura, he could not refute. This was because the pill that Ningyu refined was indeed a genuine supreme grade wind-dew pill. Ma Qianshan could not refute, and he dared not. Get ready for the third match. Meng Quan withdrew his aura and waved his hand. Our members will remain the same for the third match. Who will you send out? Ma Qianshan will continue to fight. Shido the Venerable One gritted his teeth. Shido the Venerable One thought that Ma Qianshan's defeat was a coincidence. Therefore, he trusted Ma Qianshan for the third match as well. I'm sorry, but there's something that hasn't been settled before the third alchemy match. Ningyu was hesitant. I made an agreement with Ma Qianshan before I refined the pill. Now I can order him to do something for me unconditionally. You won't go back on your word, will you? As he spoke, Ningyu retrieved a crystal ball from his pocket and looked like he was going to crush it. I won't. Big Dipper the Venerable One was infuriated by Ningyu's action. Ningyu was clearly copying him. Nonetheless, he could not refute Ningyu as he had Meng Quan's support. Besides, it was true that Ma Qianshan was defeated. According to the agreement, it was only natural for him to obey Ningyu's orders. What do you want me to do? Ma Qianshan was a man, so he asked in a deep voice. It's simple. I need a boy to refine pills for me to look after my alchemy cauldron and refine herbs. How about this? I have an enemy in Giant Shield City, so you'll have to kill him for me when the two armies fight. Ningyu answered. Poof, poof, poof. When Ma Qianshan heard the first half of Ningyu's sentence, he thought that Ningyu wanted him to be a boy to refine pills. However, when he heard the second half of Ningyu's sentence, Ma Qianshan spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. You want me to kill someone in Giant Shield City? Damn it, can't you act according to common sense? You're spitting blood? Looks like I'll have to change my request. Based on your current state, you'll be killed in one move even if you face that enemy. Ningyu's brows knit together tightly as he said, From now on, you'll stay by my side for 3 days. You'll do whatever I tell you to do during these 3 days, and you can't resist at all. I object. Ma Qianshan uttered coldly. Let's make this clear. You ordered me to do something, so what do you want to do now? Objection overruled. A cold light shot out of Meng Quan's eyes and entered Ma Qianshan's consciousness in the blink of an eye. The cold light was Meng Quan's soul power. It was evident that Meng Quan had left his soul power in Ma Qianshan's consciousness, so he had complete control over Ma Qianshan's life and death. What are you trying to do? Meng Quan's action made the West Do Venerable and the South Do Venerable very nervous. They were afraid that Meng Quan would suddenly attack. Don't be nervous, I'm just joking. Meng Quan smiled. It's decided then. Ma Qianshan will follow him for 3 days, and within these 3 days, Ma Qianshan will do whatever he tells him to do. Meng Quan flicked his wrist, then a soul power flew out of his sleeve. The soul power floated in front of Ningyu. Ningyu understood, so he grabbed the soul power and kept it carefully. Ningyu was not a hothead, so he knew very well why Meng Quan gave him a soul power. Firstly, it would allow him to control Ma Qianshan well. Needless to say, that was secondary. Most importantly, he could use it to probe Ma Qianshan's secrets. From the beginning to the end, Meng Quan did not really believe in Ningyu. Why don't you keep the soul power in your body? Meng Quan asked as he stared at Ningyu. This soul power isn't mine. I'm afraid that you'll want it back in the future, Ningyu answered immediately. It's fine, I'll give it to you. Meng Quan waved his hand. Thank you, leader. Ningyu thanked him and kept the soul power in his body. After Ningyu withdrew his soul power into his body, he carefully hid his secrets, not daring to expose them. If Meng Quan found out that he was not the black-faced burly man, he would be in big trouble. Ningyu's current identity was the black-faced burly man, not Ningyu. As the leader of the Eastern Army, Meng Quan definitely knew Ningyu's face. Chapter 1484. Who wins and who loses? Is there really no problem? Meng Quan frowned slightly when he saw how calm Ningyu was. He was perplexed. Originally, he thought that there was definitely something wrong with Ningyu. Therefore, he had to find a way to transfer his soul power into Ningyu's body. However, now that he was communicating with the soul force in Ningyu's body, he didn't find any clues. Maybe I'm thinking too much. Meng Quan took a deep breath and slowly closed his eyes. After probing Ningyu a few times, Meng Quan finally dispelled the worries in his heart. Accepting Ningyu, no, accepting the black-faced man as his disciple was only a matter of time. For the third match, we will send out Ma Qianhe. Since the fact that Ma Qianshan was under Ningyu's control could not be changed, Southern Dipper the Venerable One and the others would not ask about it. To them, the most important match was the third match. As long as they won the third match, they would be able to obtain the medicinal pills that Meng Quan refined. Anyone would want a pill that could regenerate flesh and bones from the brink of death. Ma Qianhe. Ningyu raised his eyebrows and turned to stare at Ma Qianshan. Who is he to you? Could it be your brother? In fact, Ningyu could not be blamed for thinking this way. Ma Qianhe, Ma Qianshan, and they were from the same camp. They were clearly two brothers. Humph! Ma Qianshan snorted coldly and turned his head away. Although Ma Qianhe and Ma Qianshan's names only differed by a single word, their relationship was pure and flawless. Let the third round of the competition begin. Concoct a 9th-rank medicinal pill. Shido the Venerable One flapped his sleeves, causing 2 storage bags to fly out. One flew towards Ma Qianhe, the other towards Ningyu. Pa. Ningyu and Ma Qianhe caught the inventory bag at the same time. However, after Ma Qianhe received the storage bag, he immediately took out his alchemy furnace and began to refine pills. On the other hand, Ningyu poured out all the herbs in his storage bag and examined them carefully. The reason why Ningyu did this was not because he was confident, but because he did not want to borrow the pill furnace from Meng Quan. He was evaluating and judging whether this 9th-grade medicinal pill could be refined using an ordinary alchemy furnace. Ningyu had an alchemy furnace on him, and it was an illusory alchemy furnace. However, Ningyu did not intend to use the Nihility pill furnace for alchemy. For a top-grade pill furnace like the Nihility pill furnace, Ningyu did not want to expose it in front of Meng Quan. 9th-grade heart protection pill. After looking at all the medicinal herbs, the worry in Ningyu's heart was slightly alleviated. The grade 9 heart protection elixir could be said to be the most special among the grade 9 elixirs. Ordinary 9th-grade medicinal pills had extremely high requirements for the alchemy furnace. If a low-level pill furnace was used to refine the pill, it was very likely that the pill would explode. But the heart-protecting pill was different. It only had high requirements for spiritual perception. It didn't have high requirements for the pill furnace. Rise! In the next moment, Ningyu flung his sleeves, and a cauldron flew out. The cauldron he took out was not of high quality. In fact, it was not even in the top 100 of the pill furnace heaven ranking. However, with this cauldron, Ningyu was very confident that he could refine the rank 9 heart protection pill within half an hour. Ha ha ha! When the Shido Venerable saw the cauldron Ningyu took out, he could not help but laugh maniacally. To think that you took out such a low-level cauldron to refine the heart protection pill. If you can refine it, I will avoid you from now on. Although the cauldron requirement for the heart protection pill is not high, he is really arrogant to use a cauldron that is not ranked in the top 100 of the pill furnace heaven ranking to refine it. Hee. Let's just watch him explode. That's right. Earlier, when he refined the rank 8 Wind Dew pill, his pill exploded. Now that he is refining the rank 9 heart protection pill, it would be strange if his pill did not explode. Aside from the Shido Venerable, even the other rank 8 and rank 9 alchemists started mocking Ningyu. In their opinion, not to mention defeating Ma Qianhe, Ningyu might not even be able to successfully refine the heart protection pill. Ningyu did not take the crowd's mockery to heart. He took a deep breath and did his best to maintain his mental state at its peak. Then, he poured out his peak rank 8 soul energy into the cauldron. Chi. While Ningyu was refining the herbs, Ma Qianhe had already reached the second stage. Furthermore, Ma Qianhe was very fast, shockingly fast. Based on this speed, Ma Qianhe would need at most 20 minutes to refine the heart protection pill. The time limit is 1 hour. There is no rush. Ningyu glanced at Ma Qianhe. Then, he refined the heart protection pill unhurriedly. Ningyu was confident that he could refine the superior grade heart protection pill in 1 hour. Drip, drip. Time passed continuously. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. When the 31st minute arrived, Ma Qianhe slammed the cauldron hard. Bang! Following this muffled sound, a silvery white pill suddenly shot out from the pill furnace. Ma Qianhe was quick to react, and he held the heart protection pill firmly in his hand. When he slowly opened his palm, a round white pill that was emitting thick white gas was lying flat on Ma Qianhe's palm. A medium-grade heart protection pill. The Shido Venerable and the others were elated when they sensed the aura emitted by the pill in Ma Qianhe's palm. After half an hour of refining, Ma Qianhe had refined a medium-grade heart protection pill. Although Ma Qianhe had only refined a medium-grade heart protection pill, everyone knew that he had basically won. Unless a miracle happened, the peak rank 8 alchemist who was still working hard to refine the pill would not win. Would a miracle happen? The answer was obviously no. Meng Quan, can you hand over the pill that you refine now? The Shido Venerable was already a little impatient. Before Ningyu could refine the heart protection pill, he immediately came before Meng Quan and proudly said, "As the leader of the Eastern Route Army, you can't go back on your words. What's the rush? The third round hasn't ended yet." Meng Quan's expression was indifferent, and no one could tell if he was happy or angry. How can it not end yet? Could it be that that brat can refine a high-grade heart protection pill? The Shido Venerable's tone was cold. How do you know that I can't refine a high-grade heart protection pill? In the blink of an eye, Ningyu's indifferent voice resounded in the hall. The Shido Venerable's face turned extremely unsightly when he was interrupted by Ningyu. He was the leader of the Western Route Army, a quasi-heavenly sovereign. How could an initial phase 9th grade sovereign dare to interrupt him? This was truly tolerable. Fine, he had to tolerate it. What else could he do even if he couldn't tolerate it? Meng Quan unleashed his powerful aura and moved around the hall. His aura would occasionally fall on Ma Qianhe and the Shido Venerable. The Shido Venerable was drenched in cold sweat. Fortunately, I did not disappoint you. Chapter 1485. Chapter 1485. Chapter 1485. A horde of what? Top-grade heart protection pill. Upon hearing what Ningyu said, Shido the Venerable One could not care less about his anger anymore. He looked at Ningyu's palm. In Ningyu's palm, there was a white pill lying flat on it. Compared to Ma Qianhe's heart-protecting elixir, Ningyu's heart-protecting elixir was obviously better. Ma Qianhe was refining a middle-grade heart-protecting pill. Ningyu, on the other hand, was refining a high-grade heart protection pill. It was clear who was stronger and who was weaker. Shido the Venerable One, according to our agreement, you have no right to this pill. Meng Quan took out the medicinal pellet he had refined with 78 stalks of earth dragon grass and shook it in front of them. He said, "In addition, you guys need to take out 300,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals as a wager." 300,000 Emperor-grade essence crystals? Shido the Venerable One widened his mouth as he was shocked. Why don't you just rob someone? It's very simple. If you don't take out 300,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals, I'll have no choice but to do it myself. Meng Quan shrugged and took a step forward. He was ready to go all out if Shido the Venerable One did not agree to it. Shido the Venerable One and the others had ghastly looks on their faces when they saw what Meng Quan did. This was the Eastern Army, Meng Quan's territory. It was truly an unwise choice for them to fight Meng Quan to the death here. Here's your Emperor-grade origin crystal. Shido the Venerable One had a cold look on his face. He retrieved a storage bag from his sleeve and tossed it at Meng Quan. Go. After tossing the storage bag out, Shido the Venerable One grabbed another alchemist at the peak of rank 8 and tore the void apart before they disappeared. Here. South Dipper and North Dipper Venerable One's faces took on a ghastly expression when Shido the Venerable One did that. What to do? Helpless, they could only take out 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals and hand them over to Meng Quan. Meng Quan did not stop them. After they took out 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals, he let them all go. However, the only one who did not leave was Ma Qianshan. According to the agreement, Ma Qianshan had to follow Ningyu for 3 days, and he had to listen to Ningyu's orders unconditionally. These 300,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals are your reward. Meng Quan did not care if Shido the Venerable One and the others would leave. He put 300,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals into his storage bag and tossed them to Ningyu. After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu hurriedly bowed and thanked. Thank you, leader. Mu Ping, Mu Hua, bring him down and arrange a place for him to stay. Meng Quan waved his hand and said, in the next 3 days, all of you prepare well. 2 days later, we will attack Giant Shield City. Yes. Mu Ping and Mu Hua nodded at the same time, then dragged Ningyu out of the hall. Interesting. He can remain calm in front of me. Could his master be some old monster from the Alchemy Union? Looking at the backs of Ningyu and the others as they left, Meng Quan frowned and muttered, for this period of time, I'll keep him by my side and observe him. Whoosh. At the same time, in a certain tent of the Eastern Army, Mu Ping, Mu Hua, the 2 bloodthirsty wolves, and even the long-haired man rushed over. We'll attack Giant Shield City in 2 days. I have to find a chance to tell Master Xingyun and the others in Giant Shield City about this. Ningyu paced back and forth in the tent and thought to himself, I wonder if the army will attack together in 2 days, or if Meng Quan and the others will form a high-end combat power to break the ultimate killing formation by force. Of the 2 possibilities, Ningyu was more inclined to the second one. This was because Ningyu was the one who opened the ultimate killing formation. Hence, Ningyu was very confident in the formation's defense. If the army attacked together, not only would they be exposed, but they would also suffer heavy casualties. The second possibility, huh? Ningyu was thinking of countermeasures. Since Ningyu did not speak, Mu Hua and the others in the tent dared not speak. Just like that, time flew. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Ningyu still did not speak. 2 hours passed. Ningyu still did not speak. Finally, when the 3rd hour arrived, the long-haired man could not help but say, well, I've already spread the news. Do you want to, got it? The long-haired man's words gave Ningyu a lot of inspiration. Ningyu's eyes widened and he shouted, let's do it that way. All right, I'll go and spread the news now. The long-haired man hurriedly nodded, not daring to delay. His life was still in Ningyu's hands. If Ningyu wanted him to spread the news, he did not dare to disobey. What are you doing? Seeing that the long-haired man wanted to leave the tent, Ningyu revealed a puzzled expression and said, why do you want to leave? Are you going to snitch? Ningyu's words almost made the long-haired man spit out a mouthful of blood. The long-haired man looked at Ningyu, dumbfounded. Didn't you ask me to leave to spread the news? Why did you go back on your words again? But, even though the long-haired man was very depressed in his heart, he still did not dare to talk back to Ningyu. Come over, come over. That matter that I asked you to spread the news, you hide it well for me for the time being. Without my permission, absolutely do not spread it. Ningyu waved his hand at the long-haired man, fished out a storage bag from his bosom, and threw it to him, saying, "There are 10,000 pieces of Emperor-grade essence crystals inside. No matter what, you have to hold on for 2 days. Within 2 days, I don't care what methods you use, in short, you can't let this matter spread." All right. 10,000 pieces of Emperor-grade essence crystals could not make the long-haired man feel relieved of a heavy burden. In order to spread the news, he exhausted all of his means. Now, to control the news, forget about 10,000 pieces of Emperor-grade essence crystals. Even 20,000 pieces of Emperor-grade essence crystals was also very difficult. Then, what are we going to do next? Seeing the long-haired man leave the tent with a heavy heart, Mu Ping and Mu Huo were very nervous in their hearts. Their life and death were similarly controlled by Ningyu. As long as Ningyu was willing, they would die right now. Nothing much, just one word, wait. Ningyu casually found a chair and sat down, saying indifferently, "Wait." Mu Ping and Mu Huo exchanged glances, both seeing some helplessness in each other's eyes. Helplessness as helplessness, there was nothing they could do. There was no other way. Ningyu told them to wait, so they could only wait. Fierce, bloodthirsty mad wolves, scarred mad wolves. Ningyu did not bother with Mu Ping and Mu Huo. He turned to look at the two bloodthirsty mad wolves and said, "You two have followed me for so long and helped me resolve many dangers. From now on, you two are free." As he spoke, Ningyu's mind stirred. Subsequently, the fierce, bloodthirsty mad wolves and Mu Huo felt the restraints in their bodies completely dissolve. In other words, their life and death were no longer under Ningyu's control. Not only that, Ningyu also thoroughly removed the remaining seals in their bodies. Fortunately, Ningyu helped them remove the remaining seals in their bodies. Otherwise, as long as the Jin family was willing, they could control them at any time. "Ningyu, there is something we want to ask for your help with." The fierce, bloodthirsty mad wolves and Mu Huo were not excited about the removal of the seals in their bodies. Chapter 1486. Chapter 1486, Arrival, a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan? Ningyu's face turned grave. With his current strength, not to mention a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, he couldn't even defeat a 5th grade Earth Sovereign. From the ferocious Berserk Wolf's words, it seemed that the Berserk Wolf army that the Jin clan expert brought had a deep relationship with them. "We came from the same place." Seeing Ningyu's expression, the ferocious Berserk Wolf said in a low voice, "There's a seal left by the Jin clan in the bodies of those Berserk Wolves. You're saying that you want me to help you save those Berserk Wolves?" Ningyu frowned. "That's right." The ferocious Berserk Wolf nodded. "Although I know that it's a difficult matter, we only have you as our relative in the Pellet Formation continent. So we can only ask for your help. Actually, there's still a chance." After taking a deep breath, Ningyu said, "You two hide your aura first and then stay in this tent. Don't leave without my permission." "Understood." The ferocious Berserk Wolf and the scarred Berserk Wolf replied in unison. "I know what I'm doing. You can rest assured." Ningyu gave Mu Ping and the scarred Berserk Wolf a look before leaving the tent. Despite their unwillingness, Mu Ping and Mu Huo still followed behind Ningyu and walked out of the tent. "What are we going to do?" After leaving the tent, Mu Ping asked cautiously, fearing that he might anger Ningyu. If he angered Ningyu, the consequences would be unimaginable. "Nothing much, we're just taking a stroll in the Eastern Army." Ningyu stopped in his tracks and said, "Remember, don't expose our relationship in the Eastern Army. From now on, the two of you are my masters. I'll follow behind you." "Our masters have already accepted you as a disciple? According to seniority, we can only be your senior brothers. We can't be your masters." Mu Ping and Mu Huo cried. They were not fools. Not long ago, Meng Quan's attitude towards Ningyu was clear to them. Although Meng Quan didn't accept Ningyu as his disciple, They believed that it wouldn't be long before Meng Quan accepted Ning Yu as his disciple. Isn't that the dark-faced man? Why is he so close to Master Mu Ping and the others? Only a few people knew what had happened in the hall. Therefore, when the Eastern Army saw Ning Yu walking together with Mu Ping and the others, they were a little confused. After all, in the Eastern Army, Mu Ping and Mu Hua's positions were transcendent, below only one person and above tens of thousands. In the past, many people had tried to get close to Mu Ping and the others, but without exception, all of them had failed. The fact that the black-faced man could walk so close to Mu Ping and the others naturally caused everyone to exclaim in surprise. "You don't even know about this? Is the village connected to the internet?" A martial artist who knew the black-faced man curled his lips and said disdainfully, "The black-faced man and the long-haired man left the Eastern Army and went to help Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua search for the Earth Dragon Grass. This matter has already caused a hubbub." This time, the black-faced man and the long-haired man were high and mighty for a while. I heard that the long-haired man obtained a large number of Emperor-grade essence crystals. All those who are on good terms with him got quite a number of Emperor-grade essence crystals. What are they high and mighty for? Isn't it just searching for Earth Dragon Grass? If it were me, I can definitely find even more Earth Dragon Grass. Some people were envious, and there were naturally people who were dissatisfied. All in all, the black-faced man and the long-haired man were already considered famous in the Eastern Army and gradually became known by many people. That's right. These people's discussions naturally could not escape Ning Yu's keen perception. Ning Yu did not get angry. On the contrary, he was very satisfied. This was the effect that Ning Yu wanted. After another period of time, that Jin family powerhouse would bring the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf pack to the Eastern Army. Ning Yu wanted to make use of this opportunity to intercept them at the Eastern Army's entrance. Whoosh! Time flew. Not long after, several bloodthirsty Mad Wolves appeared at the Eastern Army's entrance. "Let's go." This was the moment that Ning Yu had been waiting for. He stomped his feet on the ground and quickly rushed towards the Eastern Army's entrance. Although Mu Ping and Mu Hua did not want to get involved in this mess, they had no choice but to lower their heads. They followed closely behind Ning Yu. Ning Yu's guess was right. The Eastern Army's entrance was currently surrounded by many bloodthirsty Mad Wolves, and in front of the bloodthirsty Mad Wolves, there were 3 cultivators. One of them was a middle-aged man dressed in black, with a crew cut and a calm aura. Jin family's peak 9th grade Earth sovereign expert Jin Kitchen. On both sides of Jin Kitchen stood a young cultivator. The cultivation of these 2 young cultivators could not be considered too high. They were only 1st grade mortal sovereigns. However, their auras were restrained and their faces were as calm as an ancient well. Obviously, they were experts among experts. "Tell your leader, Meng Quan, to come out. Tell him that the Jin family has come for an appointment." Jin Kitchen displayed his powerful aura and suddenly pressed down on the cultivators guarding the Eastern Army's entrance. He said in a deep voice, "I'll give you 3 minutes to prepare a shelter for these bloodthirsty Mad Wolves behind me. Otherwise, don't blame me if they run wild inside." The strongest cultivator guarding the Eastern Army's entrance was He Ping, a 5th grade Earth sovereign. This was supposed to be a good job, but who would have thought that he would encounter a tough one today? "Hurry up and inform the leader. I'll stall here," He Ping said to the cultivators beside him in a low voice. Whoosh! Whoosh! Hearing He Ping's words, 2 cultivators quickly moved and rushed towards the central hall of the Eastern Army. 3 minutes later, the 2 cultivators returned with sullen faces and said, "Supervisor He, the leader seems to be in seclusion. No matter how we yelled, no one responded." "Time's up." Jin Kitchen did not care about the 2 cultivators' argument. He raised his right hand and coldly said, "All bloodthirsty Mad Wolves, listen up. Charge in. I'll see who dares." At this moment, Ning Yu and the others happened to be passing by. Under Ning Yu's order, Mu Ping and Mu Hua instantly flew into the air and shouted in unison, "This is the Eastern Army's restricted area. The leader said that anyone who dares to trespass will be killed without mercy." Mu Ping and Mu Hua used all their strength to shout the words "killed without mercy" in order to attract the attention of the entire Eastern Army. As expected, their words were very effective. All the experts of the Eastern Army, whether in seclusion or sleeping, woke up and rushed towards the entrance. 2 8th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Jean Kitchen's eyes emitted a cold light as his gaze fell on Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Since he was invited to the Eastern Army with the bloodthirsty Mad Wolves, Jean Kitchen had naturally investigated the situation here. He knew very well that Mu Ping and Mu Hua were Meng Quan's prized disciples. Since Mu Ping and Mu Hua had appeared, he had to be serious. Chapter 1487. Chapter 1487. Chapter 1487. Stir up trouble. Humph. I am Jean Kitchen. I was invited by your leader, Meng Quan, to bring the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf army to help you. Who dares to stop me? Jean Kitchen coldly snorted as he took a step forth. His pinnacle 9th-grade sovereign aura was unleashed and pressed towards Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Poochie. Mu Ping and Mu Hua were, after all, only 8th-grade Earth Sovereigns. So even if the two of them joined forces, they still couldn't resist Jean Kitchen's pressure. Dark red blood spurted from their mouth. Mu Ping and Mu Hua's faces were ashen, drained of all color. Get out of my way. Jean Kitchen lifted his right leg and kicked at Mu Ping. Jean Kitchen's kick was powerful and heavy, containing a terrifying force. Once Mu Ping was kicked, even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. Something's wrong. Seeing that Jean Kitchen wasn't afraid at all and was using his full strength to attack Mu Ping, Ning Yu's expression became serious. He felt that things weren't so simple. Under normal circumstances, if Jean Kitchen was only a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereign, he definitely wouldn't dare to cause trouble here. Could it be that this Jean Kitchen is a heavenly supreme, pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Thinking of this, Ning Yu's expression became extremely solemn. If Jean Kitchen was a sky supreme, then his promise to the bloodthirsty berserk wolf wouldn't be easy to fulfill. Facing a 9th-grade Earth Sovereign, Ning Yu had a chance of success. After all, Jean Yi was still in the Ascension Sovereign's pagoda. When necessary, he could have Jean Yi suddenly appear and give Jean Kitchen a fatal blow. But now, Ning Yu felt that things were very tricky. Since you're here, why don't you come out? Just as Ning Yu was secretly pondering, a powerful voice resounded throughout the entire Eastern Army. Meng Quan. Without a doubt, the martial artist who uttered this voice was precisely Meng Quan. Gotcha. Not long after Meng Quan's voice fell, the space above Ning Yu's group suddenly split open. Then, a figure appeared out of thin air and charged towards Meng Quan at an extremely terrifying speed. Rumble. The two collided, and Meng Quan and the figure in the void simultaneously retreated. In this attack, no one could do anything to the other. Let's talk inside. Meng Quan shouted out in a low voice before tearing space apart and vanishing. The expert in the void did not hesitate and directly chased after Meng Quan. I'll say this one last time. Are you going to move or not? At the entrance of the Eastern Army, Jean Kitchen looked at Mu Ping and Mu Hua, who were blocking his way, and said coldly. Because of the sudden change, Jean Kitchen stopped. Now that Meng Quan and that expert from the Jean clan had disappeared together, Jean Kitchen no longer had any apprehensions. Jean Kitchen was very clear that in the huge Eastern Army, besides Meng Quan, no one was his match. The reason why he didn't attack Mu Ping and Mu Hua right away was because he was afraid of Meng Quan's strength. One must know that the Jean clan's expert was an initial phase heavenly sovereign, while Meng Quan was only a quasi-heavenly sovereign. For Meng Quan to be able to fight to a draw against the strongest expert of the Jean clan was enough to prove Meng Quan's strength and potential. This, Mu Ping did not answer immediately. Instead, his gaze shifted and looked at Ningyu. If Ningyu didn't let him let Jean Kitchen into the Eastern Army, he definitely wouldn't dare let them in and arrange a place for them to stay. Ningyu didn't want to fight with Jean Kitchen and the others here. Not to mention whether they could win or not. Even if they could, it would be a matter of both sides suffering. Since Jean Kitchen and the others stayed in the Eastern Army, Ningyu had a chance to rescue the bloodthirsty mad wolves under their control. This way, please. Mu Ping's expression was cold as he said to the warriors guarding the entrance in a deep voice, "All of you, get out of the way. Make a large space for them." Whoosh! Under Mu Ping's order, the people in the Eastern Army moved and scattered. Jean Kitchen led the many bloodthirsty mad wolves and swaggered into the Eastern Army. When we start fighting with Giant Shield City, will these bloodthirsty mad wolves be at the forefront? It's hard to say. The cultivation of these bloodthirsty mad wolves isn't low. If they fight as the vanguard, it should save us a lot of trouble. It's a bit unrealistic to think about this right now. Let's wait and see. In the Eastern Army, many warriors gave way, for fear of being targeted by Jean Kitchen. As long as Meng Quan didn't come out, Jean Kitchen was the strongest in the Eastern Army. No one wanted to touch this eyebrow. Under Mu Ping's arrangement, Jean Kitchen and the many bloodthirsty mad wolves occupied the best area of the Eastern Army. The warriors in that area were forced to leave and crowded with others. Inside the huge tent, Jean Kitchen, the Jean family's 2 Grade 1 Earth Supremes, and even Mu Ping and Ningyu were inside. It wasn't that Mu Ping and the others wanted to come in, they were ordered by Jean Kitchen. I will stay in the Eastern Army for 2 days. During these 2 days, all the expenses of the bloodthirsty mad wolves will be borne by the Eastern Army. Jean Kitchen went straight to the point. These bloodthirsty mad wolves don't cost much, about 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals a day. What? Hearing Jean Kitchen's words, Mu Ping almost spat out a mouthful of blood. 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals a day? Why don't you just rob a bank? Didn't you hear me? I'll say it again. These bloodthirsty mad wolves need 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals a day. Jean Kitchen shrugged his shoulders and said, I'll give you half an hour to prepare. After half an hour, I want to see 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Otherwise, if these bloodthirsty mad wolves cause any commotion, it has nothing to do with me. Mu Ping wanted to lose his temper, but he didn't dare. He could only look at Ningyu, asking for help from Ningyu. The leader isn't here, we can't find 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals in half an hour. Ningyu's performance was stronger than Mu Ping's. He said directly, if you agree, we can pay 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals at our own expense for these bloodthirsty mad wolves. What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? Jean Kitchen was dumbfounded. He wanted 100,000 Emperor-grade essence crystals, but what did this dark-faced burly man in front of him say? Give him 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals. There was a huge difference between Emperor-grade yuan crystals and Emperor-grade yuan crystals. The dark-faced man clearly didn't want to hand over the Emperor-grade yuan crystals. Elder, please calm down. Just when Jean Kitchen was about to lose his temper, the Grade 1 Earth Supreme beside him hurriedly said, since we want Emperor-grade yuan crystals, we should show some strength. Otherwise, others will say that we're bullying the weak. Jean Kitchen frowned and said, you want to spar with the dark-faced man? I won't agree to this. We're guests from afar, so we should follow the host's wishes. Elder, it's not that I want to spar with him, but he wants to spar with me. I was forced to accept the challenge. The Grade 1 Earth Supreme shook his head and pretended to be wronged. Chapter 1488. Physical Strength. Ningyu didn't feel angry at the Grade 1 Earth Supreme martial artist and Jean Kitchen's words. Instead, he felt excited. Spar? Ningyu liked it very much. Rolling his eyes, Ningyu took a step forward and said, Since someone is asking me to teach him a lesson, I have no choice but to obey. You. Being ridiculed by Ningyu, the Grade 1 Earth Supreme Martial Artist, was very angry. This Grade 1 Earth Supreme Martial Artist was called Jin Yang. He could be ranked in the top 3 among the younger generation of the Jin clan. Usually, in the Jin family, Jin Yang was the center of attention. The younger generation of the Jin family, and even the older generation, did not dare to speak to him like this. How dare a black-faced man like you, who's only a first-grade Earth Supreme, talk to me like that? The furious Jin Yang stomped his right foot on the ground and was about to attack. Wait. However, just before Jin Yang made his move, Ningyu suddenly said, "What do you want now?" Jin Yang was stunned, his face expressionless. "It's a fight, of course there must be some stakes." Ningyu shrugged and said, "What stakes do you want?" Jin Yang said coldly. Ningyu didn't answer Jin Yang's words directly, but looked at Jin Kitchen. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu said, "Elder Jin, if I win, I want 10 bloodthirsty mad wolves." "What?" Ningyu's words stunned Jin Kitchen for a moment, then he said coldly, 10 bloodthirsty mad wolves? Are you sure you're not kidding me? Elder Jin, don't you have confidence in the genius of the Jin clan? Ningyu looked at Jin Kitchen and said calmly. Jin Kitchen didn't know what Ningyu was planning, so he restrained his anger and said, "What if you lose?" "If I lose, I'll provide the bloodthirsty mad wolf with 2 days of consumption, which is 200,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals." Ningyu took out a storage pouch from his robe and shook it. "There are 200,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals in there. If Jin Yang can defeat me, they will belong to you." "No problem." Before Jin Kitchen could speak, Jin Yang rushed to say, "I will let you know why flowers are so red." "Deal." Jin Kitchen stared at Ningyu, trying to see what was different about Ningyu. Unfortunately, after looking at Ningyu for a few minutes, Jin Kitchen still found nothing. In the end, Jin Kitchen chose to give up, and let Jin Yang and Ningyu exchange pointers first, to probe Ningyu's strength. "I can let you have 3 moves first." Jin Yang finally got the chance to teach Ningyu a lesson, so he was very excited. In his excitement, Jin Yang even wanted to let Ningyu have 3 moves first. Because in Jin Yang's view, let alone 3 moves, even if he let Ningyu have 10 moves, Ningyu would not be able to defeat him. "As you wish." Ningyu did not care so much. His feet stepped on the ground and his body quickly swept out. A punch brought a violent Yuan energy gale, and before Jin Yang could react, it fiercely hit Jin Yang's chest. Bang! A crisp sound rang out. Jin Yang was like a kite with a broken string, flying straight to the back. Crack! Not long after, Jin Yang fell to the ground. Because his right arm hit the ground first, the strong support directly broke Jin Yang's arm. Ah! The sharp pain from his arm made Jin Yang squeal like a pig being slaughtered. "Sorry, I may not need 3 moves." After 1 move, Ningyu said indifferently, "According to our agreement, as long as I can defeat Jin Yang, you will give me 10 bloodthirsty mad wolves." The first sentence of Ningyu was directed at Jin Yang. And the second sentence, Ningyu was directed at Jin Kitchen. "You!" Jin Yang was so angry that his teeth were itching. The meaning of Ningyu's words was very clear. He looked down on him. He said that he would let Ningyu have 3 moves first, but in the end, he could not even resist 1 move. If this matter was spread to the Jin family, it was estimated that Jin Yang would lose all his face. Very good. Jin Kitchen's expression was indifferent as he said, "According to the agreement, I indeed need to give you 10 bloodthirsty mad wolves, but what I want to say is that the competition has always been 2 wins out of 3. Although Jin Yang lost, Jin Ku did not. I don't care about Jin Ku or In Ku. If you want to fight with me, you have to have some stakes." Ningyu shrugged. "The stakes are the same. You can start now." Jin Kitchen said. "Dong." As soon as Jin Kitchen's voice fell, Jin Ku took a step forward and stomped his right foot heavily on the ground. In the Jin family, although Jin Ku was not the most powerful genius, his strength was the strongest. Jin Ku's cultivation was only at the first-grade Earth Supreme, but his strength was comparable to an ordinary third-grade Earth Supreme. I want to decide the winner with one move. Jin Ku was very smart. From the battle between Ning Yu and Jin Yang, he knew that Ning Yu was very strong, even stronger than him. Therefore, Jin Ku decided to decide the winner with one move against Ning Yu. Well, as for what to compete with, Jin Ku had already thought about it. Taking a deep breath, Jin Ku said, "This move, we can't use yuan qi or martial skills. We can only fight with pure physical strength." No problem. Physical strength is physical strength. As for how to fight with Jin Ku, Ning Yu did not care at all. Whether it was physical strength, yuan qi, soul strength or martial skills, Ning Yu was fearless. Take this. Jin Ku did not waste any time. He directly attacked with pure physical strength towards Ning Yu. Jin Ku clenched his right fist and green veins popped out. Ha ha, competing with Jin Ku in terms of physical strength? Even if you don't die, you will be crippled. Seeing that Ning Yu wanted to compete with Jin Ku in terms of physical strength, Jin Yang threw his head back and laughed excitedly. Jin Yang had lost face when he was easily defeated by Jin Ku. Now that Jin Ku was going to regain his face, Jin Yang was naturally very excited. Don't you think it's too early for you to be happy? Ning Yu completely ignored Jin Ku, who was charging towards him. He curled his lips and said to Jin Yang, "This is the Eastern Army, not the Jin family." "Humph. Even if this is not the Jin family, you will still be defeated by Jin Ku," Jin Yang said with a cold snort. "You still dare to be distracted when fighting with me. I will smash you with one punch." A cold smile appeared on the corner of Jin Ku's mouth. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Ning Yu. His fist containing terrifying power smashed towards Ning Yu's head fiercely. The power of this punch was very strong. If Ning Yu was unlucky enough to be hit, his head would probably explode directly. There are many martial artists who can smash me with one punch, but it's a pity that it is not destined to be you. Looking at Jin Ku, Ning Yu's expression was very calm. His right hand clenched into a fist and collided with Jin Ku's fist. Crack! Two fists collided. Two figures sounded. It was obvious that the first crisp cracking sound came from Jin Ku's fist breaking, and the second figure was Jin Ku squealing like a pig being slaughtered. Swoosh! Such a change was clearly out of everyone's expectations in the tent. Chapter 1489. Chapter 1489. Chapter 1489 Sparta. Sorry, I won by luck. After defeating Jin Ku, Ning Yu did not beat around the bush with Jin Kitchen, and said directly, 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves, can I go pick now? Eastern Army Meng Quan, you really gave me enough surprises. Jin Kitchen's mouth raised slightly and said, I believe your position in the Eastern Army should be very high. I wonder what your relationship with Meng Quan is. Before coming, Jin Kitchen had investigated. Meng Quan came from the Alchemy Union, and only had 2 disciples, Mu Ping and Mu Huo. Now, a black-faced man appeared, not only strong, but Mu Ping and Mu Huo were also very respectful to him. And this could not help but arouse Jin Kitchen's suspicions. Ning Yu said, I am from the Eastern Army. Meng Quan is the leader of the Eastern Army. What do you think our relationship is? Really a young hero, come, I will take you to pick bloodthirsty mad wolves. Although Ning Yu did not say it, Jin Kitchen had basically concluded. Ning Yu and Meng Quan's relationship was very good, very good. Even, Ning Yu was very likely Meng Quan's disciple. Elder, but, seeing that Jin Kitchen was going to take Ning Yu to pick bloodthirsty mad wolves, Jin Ku and Jin Yang opened their mouths, hesitating. No buts, you have to accept the loss. Jin Kitchen did not look back, but waved his hand and said, Remember, you are from the Jin family, you have to win fair and square, and lose fair and square. Ka. Although Jean Kitchen did not say anything on the surface, Jean Ku and the others were very clear. At this time, Jean Kitchen was very angry. Clenching their fists, Jean Ku and Jean Yang secretly made up their minds, no matter what, they had to teach Ningyu a lesson. Roar. Ningyu and Jean Kitchen quickly arrived at the area where the bloodthirsty mad wolves were. Dozens of bloodthirsty mad wolves howled together. That kind of momentum was very frightening. 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves, go pick yourself. Jean Kitchen pointed at the pack of bloodthirsty mad wolves in front of him and said, once you've picked a satisfactory bloodthirsty mad wolf, you can directly take them away, no need to tell me. After leaving behind these words, Jean Kitchen turned around and left. He did not want to stay here for even a moment longer. Seeing Jean Kitchen leave, Jean Ku and Jean Yang looked at each other, and they both saw a little helplessness in each other's eyes. Fiercely glaring at Ningyu, they followed behind Jean Kitchen and disappeared. Are we really going in? Mu Ping and Mu Hua's expressions turned grave as they looked at the howling bloodthirsty mad wolves. Let them enter the pack of bloodthirsty mad wolves? They did not have the guts to do so. The dozens of berserk bloodthirsty wolves were all Earth sovereigns, and there were even 6th-grade Earth sovereigns among them. Even if the two of them were pinnacle 8th-grade Earth sovereigns, they were still a little fearful. If there was an 8th-grade Earth sovereign amongst the pack of bloodthirsty wild wolves, wouldn't they be doomed if they went in? The two of you guard outside. Without my permission, don't let anyone in. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu moved his feet and entered the pack of berserk bloodthirsty mad wolves in front of Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Seeing how daring Ningyu was, Mu Ping and Mu Hua couldn't help trembling. Ningyu was only an initial 9th-grade Earth sovereign. Entering the pack of berserk bloodthirsty mad wolves was simply courting death. Russell. Mu Ping and Mu Hua were right. Just as Ningyu stepped into the pack of berserk bloodthirsty mad wolves, a 5th-grade Earth sovereign realm bloodthirsty mad wolf blocked his path. This berserk bloodthirsty mad wolf was huge, and it used its tail to sweep Ningyu up and threw him into the pack. Whoosh! Like a kite with its string cut, Ningyu streaked across the sky and was instantly engulfed by the pack of wolves. Hiss! Mu Ping and Mu Hua gasped at the sight of Ningyu being engulfed by the pack of wolves. In their opinion, Ningyu was probably done for. Human. In the middle of the pack, a berserk bloodthirsty mad wolf that wasn't particularly large stared at Ningyu and asked in a deep voice, "Why did you trespass here?" Jean Kitchen is indeed a sly old fox. Ningyu had long guessed what Jean Kitchen was thinking, but he was still a little angry when his guess was confirmed. On the surface, he said that he could choose 20 berserk bloodthirsty mad wolves, but he didn't say anything. From the looks of it, Jean Kitchen had left him with a big problem. It's very simple. I want to take 20 berserk bloodthirsty mad wolves. Ningyu knew that berserk bloodthirsty mad wolves were usually straightforward, so he also said, "The 20 berserk bloodthirsty mad wolves I want to take will follow me for 3 days, and then they will regain their freedom." Regain their freedom? Ah! The berserk bloodthirsty mad wolf who spoke just now threw his head back and laughed wildly. "We all have a seal that old fox Jean Kitchen left in our bodies. You say we can regain our freedom, but can you break the seal?" "I have no way." Ningyu's keen perception discovered that Jean Kitchen was still looking around. Under this premise, Ningyu definitely wouldn't tell the truth. Ningyu first shook his head, then changed the topic. "However, just because I can't do anything doesn't mean the leader can't. You may not know the leader's ability. He is a half-step Sky Supreme and a peak 9th-grade alchemist. The leader vaguely said that as long as you are willing to follow me, he will do everything possible to break the seal in your bodies." Buzz buzz. Not far away in the void, the corner of Jean Kitchen's mouth curled up. So that's how it is. It's not that easy to study the Jean family's sealing technique. The reason why Jean Kitchen didn't leave was because he wanted to see what Ningyu was up to. Now that he discovered Ningyu's motive, Jean Kitchen naturally didn't want to stay any longer. Ningyu was backed by Mengquan, and Jean Kitchen didn't want to offend Mengquan because of Ningyu. Although Mengquan was only the leader of the Eastern Army, he had the mysterious powerhouse of the Flower Palace and the Alchemy Union behind him. Our main objective is to take down Master Xingyun and take the Ascension Pagoda. Jean Kitchen's eyes flashed coldly as he tore space apart and disappeared. Through the investigation, the Jean family finally knew where Master Xingyun and the rest were. After knowing the news, the Jean family immediately contacted the Emperor Palace. The Jean family contacted Meng Quan, the leader of the Eastern Army, while the Emperor Palace contacted Shido Venerable, the leader of the Western Army, to encircle Giant Shield City. Is that true? Hearing Ningyu's words, the bloodthirsty wild wolf raised its brows. Words are no proof. It's not impossible to pick 20 bloodthirsty wild wolves from among us, but you have to break the seal in one of them first. Only then will we believe you. Pardon me for asking, but how should I address you? Ningyu asked. Bada. The bloodthirsty mad wolf, which wasn't too big in size, said, I have to remind you that we don't have that much time to waste with you here. Break the seal in his body in half an hour. Chapter 1490. Breaking the seal. Ningyu looked in the direction of Ba Da's palm. Not far away there was a petite bloodthirsty mad wolf lying on the ground, looking extremely weak. Such a low level of cultivation? Ningyu frowned, slightly surprised. Among the entire pack of bloodthirsty mad wolves, only this one had the lowest level of cultivation. This bloodthirsty mad wolf wasn't even an Earth Supreme. A peak 9th grade human supreme. This bloodthirsty mad wolf's cultivation was only slightly higher than Ningyu's, reaching the peak 9th grade human supreme. You have 29 minutes. Ba Da's expression was indifferent, and his tone was emotionless. Ningyu stood where he was and made a move that made Ba Da's face turn ashen. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and closed his eyes. Ningyu's action directly infuriated Ba Da. I gave you 30 minutes to prove yourself, but you didn't do anything and just came here to rest? You need to give me an explanation. Even though he was furious, Ba Da still chose to give Ningyu a chance. No matter what, Ningyu was Mengquan's man. He didn't want to offend Mengquan because of Ningyu. Ningyu slowly opened his eyes and said solemnly, I need a quiet area where no one can disturb me. Approved. Following Ba Da's words, the surrounding bloodthirsty mad wolves moved, surrounding Ningyu and the petite bloodthirsty mad wolf in the middle. As for Ba Da himself, he went to the front of the pack and personally guarded them. Although Ba Da was guarding the front of the wolf pack, his senses were focused on Ningyu and the petite bloodthirsty mad wolf. Others might not know the identity of the petite bloodthirsty mad wolf, but he knew very well. The petite bloodthirsty mad wolf was a rare talent that only appeared once in 1,000 years. As long as it was given enough time, it would definitely shine in the future and bring the bloodthirsty mad wolf clan to an extremely prosperous state. But now, this prodigy of the bloodthirsty mad wolf clan had been sealed by the Jean family. No matter what, as long as there was a chance to break the seal, Ba Da would definitely give it a try. Xiao. Ningyu couldn't care less. His soul force gushed out and directly entered the werewolf genius body to probe. Something's not right. The more he probed, the more serious Ningyu's expression became. Ningyu had a way to break the seal within the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. However, as long as Ningyu broke the seal in this bloodthirsty mad wolf's body, Jean Kitchen would be the first to know. As expected of an old fox, Ningyu frowned, trying to think of a countermeasure. In the current situation, there was no way to break the seal in this bloodthirsty wild wolf's body. He could only break the seal in the other bloodthirsty wild wolves first to gain Barda's trust. Come here. Ningyu grabbed a bloodthirsty berserk wolf beside him and sent his soul force into its body, beginning to break it apart. Drip. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Voila! Just a while ago, Bada had crossed the pack of wolves and arrived before the werewolf genius, starting his inspection. Are you messing with me? Realizing that the seal in the werewolf genius body was still intact, Bada's face turned ashen. He felt insulted. The seal in the werewolf genius body was still intact and had not been broken at all. In other words, Ningyu had not helped at all. He had been messing around the whole time. Wang. Bada released his aura and pressed down on Ningyu. Elder, please calm down. Bada's aura had just arrived in front of Ningyu when a burly bloodthirsty madwolf beside Ningyu shouted, "The seal in my body has been broken." What? The words of the burly bloodthirsty madwolf caused Bada's body to tremble. He could not help but say that again? Forget it, I'll do it myself. Bada's powerful perception surged out and hurriedly entered the burly bloodthirsty madwolf's body to inspect. The more he inspected, the more excited Bada became. Success! The seal in the burly bloodthirsty madwolf's body had been broken. 20 bloodthirsty madwolves. Ningyu knew that Bada trusted him, so he said directly, "It would be best if they are strong and have high cultivation." Wait a moment. Bada suppressed the excitement in his heart and began to personally select the bloodthirsty mad wolves for Ningyu. Before long, Bada had selected 20 strong bloodthirsty mad wolves for Ningyu and brought them to Ningyu. From now on, you will follow him wholeheartedly and listen to his orders. Bada pointed at Ningyu and said in a deep voice, "His words are my words. His orders are my orders." Understood. The 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves replied in unison. Elder Ba, thank you. Ningyu cupped his fists at Bada, then waved his hand and said, "Come, follow me back." Rustle. With Ningyu at the front and the 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves at the back, they left in a grandiose manner. Elder, why did you get the Saint Wolf to follow him? When Ningyu's party left, a 6th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty mad wolf immediately said, "The Saint Wolf is the hope of our bloodthirsty mad wolf clan. It's fine, I know what I'm doing." Recalling his conversation with Ningyu, Bada waved his hand. From now on, no one is allowed to talk about this matter. Otherwise, I'll kill without mercy. When the words "kill without mercy" came out of Bada's mouth, the temperature in this region instantly dropped by a few degrees. The reason why Bada was able to become the leader of this pack of bloodthirsty berserk wolves was because his cultivation was extremely terrifying. He wasn't a 5th-grade Earth Sovereign, nor was he an 8th-grade Earth Sovereign. He was a genuine pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereign. Woo! Ningyu had just brought the 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves with him. Before he could return to his tent, the sound of a bugle horn resounded throughout the entire Eastern Army. Not good, it's the bugle horn. Hearing that sound, Mu Ping and Mu Hua, who were beside Ningyu, immediately said, "Leader and that expert from the Jin family must have discussed it. They're going to attack Giant Shield City now." They're going to attack Giant Shield City now? Ningyu's face turned extremely unsightly. He had just brought the 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves away, and he still hadn't broken the seals in their bodies. If they were to attack now, the bloodthirsty mad wolves would definitely be at the front. Casualties were unavoidable in a battle between two armies. At that time, Ningyu definitely wouldn't have the time to care about them. Actually, there's no need to worry. According to the agreement, our Eastern Army will be the last to attack, while the other 3 armies will be the vanguard. As if he could read Ningyu's mind, Mu Ping said, "Our mission is to wait for Giant Shield City to be breached, then we will go in and plunder, taking all the treasures in Giant Shield City." Rustle. Suddenly, 2 silhouettes appeared in the sky above the Eastern Army. Without a doubt, one of them was the heavenly sovereign of the Jin family, while the other was the leader of the Eastern Army, Meng Quan. Chapter 1491. Chapter 1491. Chapter 1491 The Great Army is bearing down on the border rumble. As Mu Ping's voice faded, the entire Eastern Army began to move. Even though the other three armies were the vanguard, and the Eastern Army was only the reserve army, a great battle was imminent. Everyone's expressions were grave, and they did not want anything to go wrong. Even Mu Ping and Mu Hua chose to bid farewell to Ning Yu and leave to make preparations. The two of them had thought things through thoroughly. The people of Giant Shield City were not fools. They knew that they could not resist the encirclement of the four armies, so they had to think of another way. Besieging and killing the top-notch experts of the four armies was an excellent method. The two of them were peak 8th grade Earth sovereigns, so they would most likely become the targets of the Giant Shield City's experts. They had to be extremely careful. Therefore, they did not dare to slack off in the slightest and hurriedly prepared their trump cards. Half an hour should be enough to break the seal on 2 or 3 bloodthirsty berserk wolves. Ning Yu knew the severity of the problem. He brought the 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves back to the tent and began to break the seals for them. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. When the 31st minute arrived, Ning Yu slowly withdrew his hands from the back of a bloodthirsty berserk wolf, and let out a long sigh. 5 of them. Within half an hour, Ning Yu had broken the seals within the bodies of the 5 bloodthirsty mad wolves. However, just to be safe, Ning Yu left some restrictions in their bodies. You may know a man's face, but not his heart. Ning Yu did not want to help them break the seal only to fall into their trap. Of course, these 5 bloodthirsty mad wolves didn't know that Ning Yu had left a restriction in their bodies. They were very grateful to Ning Yu. Voila! Half an hour had just passed, and the Eastern Army's martial artists began to move. The army set out, the earth quaked, and the mountains shook. The entire army of the Eastern route rushed toward Giant Shield City in an orderly manner. It was not just the Eastern Army. The other 3 armies also began to advance towards Giant Shield City. Meanwhile, Giant Shield City, South Gate, City Tower. The atmosphere here was somewhat oppressive and even very depressing. Grandmaster Xing Yun, Fairy Yun Shi, Spiritual Master GMO, and the other experts of Giant Shield City all had ugly expressions on their faces. They had received intelligence that the 4 armies of 100 Flowers City had already set off. In half an hour at most, the 4 armies would arrive at the city. At that time, whether or not they could hold on was still unknown. Did you find Ning Yu? Although the 4 armies were about to arrive, Master Xing Yun's focus wasn't on it. Master Xing Yun was concerned about Ning Yu. Recently, his soul perception had searched Giant Shield City several times. Unfortunately, he hadn't been able to find Ning Yu even once. Master Xing Yun cared about Ning Yu for 2 reasons. First, Ning Yu had the Transcendence Supremacy Pagoda, while he had the Limitless Supremacy Pagoda. The difference in strength was like heaven and earth. Secondly, there were people from Nebula Academy in the Tower of Ascension. If anything happened to Ning Yu, it would be disastrous for Nebula Academy. Because of these 2 reasons, Master Xing Yun almost went crazy. If it wasn't for Fairy Yun Shi and Spiritual Master GMO holding him back, Master Xing Yun would have left Giant Shield City alone to look for Ning Yu. Not yet. Beside Master Xing Yun, Fairy Yun Shi shook her head and said, "The entire Giant Shield City has been turned upside down, but there's still no sign of Ning Yu." Perhaps, Fairy Yun Shi didn't continue speaking because even she wasn't very sure. Not long ago, they had discovered some spatial fluctuations at the North Gate. At that time, they suspected that it was the people from 100 Flowers City playing tricks. Now, it seemed that the martial artist who caused the spatial fluctuations was most likely Ning Yu. Don't worry, I've already settled Ning Yu's friends. If Giant Shield City is unfortunately breached, they will be moved to a safe place immediately. Fairy Yun Shi continued, "What we need to do next is to defend the city gate. With the Supreme Killing Formation, it won't be a problem for us to hold out for 3 days." Although Fairy Yun Shi said it very naturally, Everyone knew that under the joint attack of the four armies, the supreme killing formation of Giant Shield City would not be able to hold out for 3 days. They saw through it but didn't say it out loud. Ever since they decided to stay, they were prepared to fight to the death with Giant Shield City. In the blink of an eye, half an hour passed. Rumble! Outside Giant Shield City, smoke billowed and dust filled the sky. The four armies rushed towards the north and south of Giant Shield City in an orderly manner. Among them, the Western Army was the vanguard, the Southern and Northern armies guarded the middle, and the Eastern Army guarded the rear. Hiss! The billowing smoke caused everyone in Giant Shield City to involuntarily suck in a breath of cold air. How could they fight? Be it in terms of cultivation or momentum, the four armies of Hundred Flowers City completely crushed the martial artists of Giant Shield City. Fortunately, Giant Shield City had the supreme killing formation. Otherwise, the people of Giant Shield City would probably open the city gates and surrender. Stop! The four armies of Hundred Flowers City moved in unison and in a very orderly manner. A figure floated in midair in front of the Western Army. The figure raised his right hand and announced loudly, "Rest here. Without my order, nobody's allowed to attack Giant Shield City." Unquestionably, the figure was Shido the Venerable. Shido the Venerable flashed and arrived in front of Giant Shield City in the blink of an eye. "I'll give you 3 minutes to activate the supreme killing formation and open the city gates to let us in. Otherwise, we'll massacre the entire city." Whoosh! As Shido the Venerable uttered the word, "massacre the entire city," the temperature in the area seemed to have dropped by a few degrees. The faces of the guards on the watchtower of Giant Shield City's southern gate turned ghastly pale, and some of them were thinking of retreating. The enemy was strong while they were weak, and they were outnumbered. The defensive battle was not on the same level at all. Even if they could repel the first wave of attacks from the Western Army, there were still the Southern Army and the Northern Army, as well as the most terrifying force. The supreme killing formation would not last long if the four armies fought one after another. "Shido the Venerable, the palace master treated you well in the past, but I didn't expect you to be such an ingrate. Do you have the guts to fight me before the two armies fight?" Shido the Venerable laughed coldly. "Ha ha, why not?" Shido the Venerable laughed wildly and said proudly, "A wise man submits to circumstances. The palace master's fate has come to an end, and you'll only die if you follow her. Now I'll give you a chance. As long as you submit to me, I'll recommend you to join the Hundred Flowers Demon Palace." Hundred Flowers Demon Palace? Shido the Venerable was stunned. That's right. The leader has complete control over the Hundred Flowers Palace. It's no longer called the Hundred Flowers Palace, but the Hundred Flowers Demon Palace. Our master is the Hundred Flowers Demon Master. Chapter 1492. Chapter 1492. Chapter 1492. Fighting at the front line. If you want to fight, then let's fight. What's with all this nonsense? No matter what Shido the Venerable One said, he could not shake Master Devil's determination to fight. GMO was not a fledgling. On the contrary, he knew Shido the Venerable very well. Even if he promised Shido the Venerable One, the latter would not fulfill his promise. "All right, since you're seeking death, I'll fulfill your wish." Shido the Venerable knew that Master GMO would not compromise, so he tore the void apart and charged toward Giant Shield City's city tower. Shio! Seeing as Shido the Venerable One was getting closer to him, Master GMO stomped his feet and flashed away. Rumble! In the void in front of Giant Shield City, Shido the Venerable and Master GMO were engaged in a fierce battle. In terms of cultivation, Shido Venerable was a quasi-heavenly supreme, while GMO Venerable was only a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supreme. Nevertheless, Master Devil's combat power was not weaker than Shido the Venerable One. The two of them battled in midair, sending shockwaves in all directions. Chi-chi! Since Giant Shield City was protected by a peerless killing formation, the aftermath of the battle between Taoist Master GMO and the others did not affect Giant Shield City much. On the other hand, the West Road Army was the one who was affected. Fairy Yunshi, something isn't right. On the Giant Shield City's gate tower, Master Xingyun had a grave look on his face as he watched the fight between Saint Master GMO and Shido the Venerable. Shido the Venerable led his army to the border, but instead of attacking, he fought with Master Renmo here. There must be a reason behind this abnormality. I also feel that something is wrong. Could it be that they are playing some sort of trick? Not only did Grandmaster Xingyun notice the clues, even Yunshi felt that something was wrong. If I'm not wrong, the higher-ups among them should be secretly plotting to break the peerless killing formation. Not good. Luring the tiger away from the mountain. Master Xingyun frowned slightly. Before he could finish his sentence, his expression changed drastically. Although the peerless killing formation was terrifying, the northern gate was the weakest link. Because there was a small array there. As long as a large number of experts attacked together, forcefully attacking the small formation eye, there was a very high chance that the peerless killing formation would be broken. Now that Shido the Venerable One was fighting Master GMO, he was clearly buying time for the other powerhouses. Go. Thinking of this, Master Xingyun and Fairy Yunshi tore the void and rushed towards the north gate. Mu Ping, Mu Hua, where's your master? At the same time, in one of the tents of the Eastern Army. Ningyu looked at the two cultivators in front of him and said in a deep voice, "Is there something important that you're hiding from me?" Ningyu was very angry at this time. He released his keen perception and discovered that there was no sign of Meng Quan in the entire Eastern Army. Moreover, not only was there no sign of Meng Quan, even the experts of the Jin clan, as well as the dozens of bloodthirsty mad wolves that Jin Kitchen brought along, had disappeared into thin air. To be able to make these bloodthirsty wolves disappear under the eyes of Ningyu, Meng Quan must have some kind of terrifying magical treasure on him. We don't know either. Mu Ping and Mu Hua were on the verge of tears. The two of them really didn't know what was going on. Before Meng Quan left, he only told them to stabilize the Eastern Army and remember not to cause any trouble. Now that Ningyu asked them, they could only be in the dark and unable to answer. Humph. Not telling the truth. Ningyu snorted coldly and immediately activated the soul power in Mu Ping and Mu Hua's bodies. Ah! As soon as Ningyu activated his soul power, Mu Ping and Mu Hua screamed in pain. Their lives were in Ningyu's hands. If Ningyu wanted them to live, they would live. If Ningyu wanted them to die, they would die immediately. Before Master left, he told us to stabilize the Eastern Army and not to cause any trouble. Under the threat of death, Mu Ping spilled the beans. I see. Ningyu frowned slightly and murmured, "If I'm not wrong, all the experts of the four armies must be plotting on how to break the killing formation." His eyes darting, Ningyu instantly came up with a countermeasure. "I'll leave 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves to follow you. Do something for me." Ningyu's soul power surged and a message was transmitted to Mu Ping and Mu Hua's minds. Hearing this, Mu Ping and Mu Hua sucked in a breath of cold air at the same time. Ningyu actually wanted to do this? This was taking drastic measures. The long-haired man will cooperate with you on this matter. All you need to do is wait for my order and then act according to plan. After giving the order, Ningyu's figure flashed and quietly left the Eastern Army. Beside Ningyu, Ma Qianshan followed closely. Ma Qianshan lost to Ningyu in an alchemy bet and was controlled by Meng Quan. In the next 3 days, he had to obey Ningyu unconditionally. Leaving some distance away from the Eastern Army, Ningyu directly stopped and stared at Ma Qianshan, saying, "You return to the Western Army now and do something for me." Ningyu did not beat around the bush and briefed Ma Qianshan on the matter that he instructed Mu Ping and the rest. Now that the peak powerhouses of the four armies had already left, it was the best time to implement the plan. Missing this opportunity, there would be no more. What Ningyu was doing was also taking a gamble. If the gamble was right, he could stop the advance of the four armies. If the gamble failed, at most, he would just walk away. You! Hearing Ningyu's plan, Ma Qianshan's eyes revealed a hint of horror. Ningyu was actually so vicious? Once this plan of Ningyu's succeeded, it would bring about a devastating blow to the Western army. But people had no choice but to lower their heads under the eve. In order to survive, Ma Qianshan could only do as Ningyu said. Swoosh! His figure flashed and Ma Qianshan instantly moved towards the Western army. As for Ningyu, he changed his direction and made a huge detour around Giant Shield City, circling to the northern gate of Giant Shield City. The weakest point of the Giant Shield City's peerless killing array was the small array eye at the northern gate. Back then, when Ningyu left Giant Shield City, he had left from there. Now that Meng Quan and the rest wanted to break the peerless killing array, their first destination would definitely be there. There was no need to even think about it. There's indeed something strange. Not far from the northern gate of Giant Shield City, Ningyu was hidden in the void with the help of space. Although he was hidden in the void, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. Because in the surroundings, Ningyu felt at least a few terrifying auras. The owner of these auras was at least a 9th-grade Earth Supreme Realm cultivator. Swish! Swish! Not long after Ningyu hid, two figures sped over from Giant Shield City. Without a doubt, these two figures were Fairy Yun Shi and Grandmaster Xing Yun. After sensing the danger, the two of them did not stop and directly came to the northern gate. Let's see what they're going to do first. Ningyu tried his best to hide in the void and did not choose to expose himself. Chapter 1493. Chapter 1493. Chapter 1493 Self-Destruct. Fortunately, they haven't started yet. Grandmaster Xing Yun released his soul force and observed his surroundings for a while. Then, he took a deep breath and said, "Protect me. I want to set up a defensive formation around this small formation core." A small formation I was the weakest link of a peerless killing formation. Although he didn't know how the experts from 100 Flowers City knew about it, Grandmaster Xing Yun knew very well that he had to protect this formation I and not let it be broken. Only by protecting the small array core could the peerless killing array be guaranteed to not have any problems, thus buying enough time for Palatial Lord Centauria. Palatial Lord Centauria was using the soul attraction art. As long as he could buy her enough time, the mysterious expert in Centauria Palace would at least be severely injured. When that happened, Shido the Venerable One and the others would surely lose their morale. All right. Fairy Yun Shi knew how serious the problem was. She flicked her sleeves and took out her 100 Flowers fan. Holding the 100-flower fan, Fairy Yun Shi's expression was grave as she paid close attention to her surroundings. Rise! Grandmaster Xing Yun unleashed his powerful soul power and began to arrange a formation around the small formation core. Rumble! However, before Master Xing Yun could finish setting up the formation, there was a sudden change. Outside the north gate, several figures suddenly emerged. These figures attacked in unison, and their target was the void where the small formation core was located. Block! Fortunately, Yun Shi Fairy waved her 100-flower fan and blocked this fatal attack for Grandmaster Xing Yun. Otherwise, with Master Xing Yun's strength, even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. After the first exchange, several figures appeared outside the north gate. Meng Quan, Jean Kitchen, Southern Dipper the Venerable, in the void, Ning Yu's expression became extremely solemn. Even with Fairy Yun Shi's 100-flower fan, it would be difficult for her to defend against such a powerful lineup. I have to think of a way to give the Tower of Ascension to Grandmaster Xing Yun. Ning Yu's eyes turned as he thought of a countermeasure. With the 100 Flowers fan in hand, Fairy Yunshi's strength was equivalent to that of a Sky Supreme. If Grandmaster Xingyun had the Tower of Ascension, he would definitely be stronger than Fairy Yunshi. Block? How are you going to block it? Outside the north gate, the corners of Meng Quan's mouth curled up as he said coldly, "As long as we're willing, we can easily break this small formation eye. Who doesn't know how to boast? If you have the ability, then go ahead and break this small array eye." Fairy Yun, she was not someone who could be easily frightened. With a treasure like the 100 Flowers fan, she believed that Meng Quan and the others would not dare to barge in forcefully. The 100 Flowers fan was famous throughout the Pill Formation continent. If Meng Quan and the rest barged in, they would probably leave behind a few corpses. "I know what you're thinking, but I'm sorry, we're well prepared this time." Meng Quan shrugged, and then he said in a clear voice, "Bada, send out 10 bloodthirsty mad wolves now, and let them charge at the small formation eyes one by one." As Meng Quan's voice rang out, the surrounding space gradually split open. Bada appeared with dozens of bloodthirsty mad wolves. Bada didn't listen to Meng Quan's instructions but said coldly, "You have no right to order us." "They have no right to order you, but do I have the right to order you?" Meng Quan had yet to speak when Jean Kitchen beside him said coldly, "I'm ordering you guys right now, charge at the formation eyes one by one or else kill without mercy." "Jean Kitchen, don't go too far." Bada didn't listen to Jean Kitchen's orders. His facial expression was very savage. Some time ago, the reason why Bada obeyed Jean Kitchen's orders was entirely because the wolf race genius was trapped. Now that the wolf race genius was rescued by Ningyu, Bada had no worries anymore. Bada even secretly gave the order that as long as Jean Kitchen pushed the wolves too far, they would self-detonate together and perish together with Jean Kitchen and the others. Going too far? I think you're courting death. Being slapped in the face by Bada in front of so many people, Jean Kitchen felt that face was irrelevant. His figure flashed out explosively. Jean Kitchen charged toward Bada at high speed. He wanted to teach Bada a lesson, let Bada know what was called a slave. In the process of advancing, Jean Kitchen urged the seal in Bada's body, making Bada's expression look extremely painful. "Fighting with me, you're still a little inexperienced." Seeing Bada's painful appearance, Jean Kitchen said proudly, "I'll give you the last, rumble." Just as Jean Kitchen was about to give an order to Bada, something extremely frightening happened. The body of the bloodthirsty mad wolf closest to him swelled up and suddenly exploded. This bloodthirsty mad wolf's cultivation was at grade 5 Earth Supreme. Although the self-detonation of the bloodthirsty mad wolf didn't hurt Jean Kitchen, it rang an alarm bell for him. These bloodthirsty mad wolves had rebelled. Crash! While Jean Kitchen was resisting the self-detonation, many bloodthirsty mad wolves stood in front of Bada. Moreover, the bodies of these bloodthirsty mad wolves had enlarged, showing signs of self-detonation at the slightest disagreement. Damn it! The sudden change made Jean Kitchen panic, and he hurriedly shifted his gaze to the Jean family's Sky Supreme expert. The Jean family's Sky Supreme expert was called Jean Bo. Jean Bo handled things much more rationally than Jean Kitchen. He said in a clear voice, "Let's make a deal. As long as one bloodthirsty mad wolf rushes to the small array core, I'll break the seal in its body." Crash! Jean Bo's words caused some chaos in the pack of bloodthirsty mad wolves. A life for a life. It might seem like the bloodthirsty mad wolves were at a loss, but anyone with a discerning eye knew that they had no other choice. Jean Bo wasn't like Jean Kitchen. He had the ability to detonate all the seals in the bodies of these bloodthirsty mad wolves. The Jean family's seals were famous in the Pill Formation continent. "I'll go first." After a brief moment of silence, a 5th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty wolf charged towards the array core. Rumble! As soon as the bloodthirsty mad wolf approached the small array core, it was crushed by the 100 Flowers fan's protective shield and died on the spot. "You can go now." Jean Bo kept his promise. He pointed at another 5th grade Earth Supreme Mad Wolf and said, "I said a life for a life, so I won't go back on my words." Jean Beau flicked his finger, and a cold light flew towards the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. Buzz. Clearly, along with the buzzing sound, the seal within the body of the 5th grade Earth Supreme Realm bloodthirsty Wild Wolf was completely broken. "You go first." Bada personally checked the condition of the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf's body. After ensuring that the seal was broken, Bada pointed to the distance and said in a deep voice, "Go as far as you can." Okay. At first, the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf didn't want to leave. But when it saw Bada raise his brows unnaturally, its figure flashed and flew away. In the blink of an eye, the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf disappeared. Whoosh, whoosh. No one noticed. After the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf left, 2 figures quietly tore through the void and disappeared. As I expected, they want to hunt this bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. Chapter 1494. Chapter 1494. Chapter 1494 Serious Show. This 5th grade Earth Supreme Realm bloodthirsty Wild Wolf was extremely fast. After leaving the northern gate, Bufang rushed toward the distance without stopping. It was as if he knew the predicament he was in. If he didn't leave quickly, he would definitely be killed. However, this bloodthirsty berserk wolf was only a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, while the 2 cultivators chasing after it were 7th grade Earth Sovereigns. The reason why the 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns did not make a move wasn't because they were soft-hearted, but because this place wasn't too far away from Giant Shield City. If they made a move here, it would definitely cause unnecessary trouble. The plan of the 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns was simple. They would wait for the bloodthirsty wild wolf to move a little further before they attacked. Elder Yang, are you able to kill the 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns without attracting any attention? Not long after leaving the North Gate, Ning Yu contacted Yang Chong. Ning Yu's plan was simple. He would kill the 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns and rescue the bloodthirsty wild wolf, a 5th grade Earth Sovereign. Yang Chong did not directly reply to Ning Yu. He first communicated with the other elders in the pagoda before replying, "It's just 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns, it's not a problem." It's good that there's no problem. This matter must be done secretly. Don't attract the attention of the Jin family of Giant Shield City, Ning Yu said in a low voice. If possible, I hope to capture them alive. It will be difficult to capture him alive, but we will do our best to capture him alive. Yang Chong felt the pressure. It wouldn't be too difficult for him and the elders of Nebula Academy to kill 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns. However, if they were to capture him alive, the difficulty would instantly soar. After all, capturing and killing were 2 completely different concepts. Try your best. Ning Yu naturally knew the difficulty of capturing Yang Chong alive, so he did not make things difficult for him. Rescuing the bloodthirsty wild wolf was the key, but capturing the 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns was secondary. It was fine as long as he could kill them. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. North of Giant Shield City, in a dense forest dozens of miles away. Several figures flashed past, and in an instant they were far away. Roar. Suddenly, the figure at the front stopped abruptly, and then he raised his head and roared. He said coldly, "Your ancestor has already agreed to let me go, so why are you still forcing me?" "You're forcing me?" Seeing the bloodthirsty berserk wolf stopping, the 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Jin clan also stopped. Amongst them, the long-haired 7th grade Earth Sovereign raised his brows and eerily said, "The ancestor never intended to let you guys go. Right now, you have 2 choices. First, stay here obediently. Second, die. Even if I self-destruct, I will never let you have your way." The bloodthirsty wild wolf's face was extremely ugly as he said, "I might only be a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, but if I self-destruct, stop. Halfway through the bloodthirsty wild wolf's words, the long-haired 7th-grade Earth Sovereign waved his hand and said, "There's something cruel that I didn't tell you. The seal in your body hasn't been completely removed, so your fate is still in the hands of the Gene clan." "What?" Hearing those words, the bloodthirsty frenzied wolf shrieked in disbelief. "Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and choose. Do you want to stay here or die?" The long-haired 7th-grade Earth Sovereign didn't care about the bloodthirsty wild wolf's reaction. His mission was clear. If the bloodthirsty wild wolf was willing to stay here, he would watch over it and let the short-haired 7th-grade Earth Sovereign capture the other bloodthirsty wild wolf. If the bloodthirsty wild wolf didn't want to stay here, he would join forces with the short-haired 7th-grade Earth Sovereign to kill the bloodthirsty wild wolf and capture the other bloodthirsty wild wolf. No matter which one it was, it posed no challenge to him. "What if I don't choose either?" Suddenly, the bloodthirsty wild wolf with the cultivation of 5th-grade Earth Sovereign said indifferently, "What can you do to me? Did the sun rise from the west?" The bloodthirsty wild wolf's sudden words stunned the long-haired 7th-grade Earth Sovereign. This was too illogical. The bloodthirsty wild wolf was clearly at a disadvantage and had no chance of escaping. Why did the bloodthirsty wild wolf say such words at this time? "I'll stand right here. If you're capable, you can come and find trouble with me." The bloodthirsty mad wolf seemed to have given up. With a leap, he landed on a towering tree nearby and closed his eyes to rest. "Kill!" The long-haired man let out a low roar and immediately charged at the bloodthirsty wild wolf. In the long-haired man's view, the bloodthirsty wild wolf didn't have any trump cards. The reason why he acted this way was to stall for time and find a way to escape. Would the long-haired man give him a chance? The answer was obviously no. The long-haired man was so fast that he arrived beside the bloodthirsty wild wolf in the blink of an eye. He clenched his right fist and punched at the bloodthirsty wild wolf's head. At the same time, the long-haired man said sinisterly, "I'd like to see what you're capable of to be so arrogant." Whoosh! In a flash, a strange change occurred. The void beside the bloodthirsty wild wolf suddenly split open and several figures appeared. Upon closer inspection, the figure at the front was none other than Nebula Academy's Yang Chong. As an 8th-grade Earth Sovereign, the moment Yang Chong appeared, he launched a barrage of attacks at the long-haired man. As for the rest of the figures, they all charged towards the short-haired man and surrounded him. "Who are you people? How dare you attack us?" The long-haired man said coldly, "We're from the Gene family, and the experts of the Gene family are in Giant Shield City. As long as I roar, the experts of the Gene family will immediately come." In fact, the long-haired man was also very afraid. In fact, his heart was filled with terror. The reason why he had waited until now to attack the bloodthirsty wild wolf was because he was far from Giant Shield City. If he attacked here, the people in Giant Shield City wouldn't notice. Now, he had shot himself in the foot. Noisy. A cold light shot out from Yang Chong's eyes. His mission was to capture the long-haired man alive, not to listen to the long-haired man's roar. After letting out a low roar, Yang Chong began to use his killer move. The reason why Yang Chong used his killer move wasn't because he wanted to kill the long-haired man, but to intimidate him and make him panic. Only by making the long-haired man panic could he capture him alive. Otherwise, he could only kill him. While Yang Chong and the long-haired man were fighting, Ningyu tore through the void and appeared before the bloodthirsty wild wolf. Seeing Ningyu appear, the bloodthirsty wild wolf revealed an ecstatic expression and hurriedly said, "Don't speak. I'll help you break the seal in your body." Chapter 1495. Questioning So Serious? Hearing Ningyu's words, the bloodthirsty mad wolf opened its mouth wide and hurriedly said, "Please help me break the seal in my body no matter what. I will do my best to cooperate. If you don't do anything, you'll be cooperating with me the most." Ningyu took a deep breath, his brows slightly solemn as he said, "The seal in your body is a bit special. I only have a 50% chance of breaking it." Because of Ning Yu's words, the bloodthirsty mad wolf kept its mouth shut and no longer spoke. In fact, when he left the north gate of Giant Shield City, he had already received Ba Da's voice transmission. At that time, Ba Da had told him to run far away and that someone would come to rescue him. He had thought that there would be an expert coming to rescue him, but he did not expect that the person who came would be Ning Yu. Moreover, Ning Yu was helping him break the seal in his body. The Jin clan really has a deep understanding of the Tao of seals. Ning Yu placed his hands on the bloodthirsty mad wolf's back and felt the changes in the seal in its body. His face could not help but turn gloomy. If it was the previous seal, Ning Yu could break it in at most 10 minutes. But the current seal, even if Ning Yu used all his strength, it would still take half an hour to break it. Drip. Time passed. While Ning Yu was breaking the seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body, the battlefield was divided into two. Yang Chang against the long-haired man, the rest of the Nebula Academy elders against the short-haired man. The battle continued to erupt, and the flames of war even spread to Ning Yu's side. Fortunately, Ning Yu was cautious. As long as the flames of war spread to his side, he would bring the bloodthirsty mad wolf to another position. Puff! After more than 10 times of shifting positions, the bloodthirsty mad wolf finally spat out a mouthful of blood, and the seal in its body was completely broken. Puff! Puff! Just as the seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body was broken, the long-haired man and the short-haired man were both captured. Ning Yu, we need to enter the Tower of Yuzuan to recuperate. In order to capture the long-haired and short-haired men, Yang Chang and the others paid the price in blood. As an 8th-grade Earth Sovereign, Yang Chang's situation was slightly better. However, the other elders of the Nebula Academy were heavily injured. Hence, after capturing the long-haired and short-haired men, Yang Chang directly suggested to Ning Yu that he wanted to enter the Tower of Yuzu to recuperate. Open! Ning Yu did not waste any time and directly opened the Tower of Yuzuan, letting Yang Chang and the rest enter. Xiao! Xiao! Just before Yang Chang entered the Tower of Yuzuan, 2 wisps of soul force shot out from his sleeves and flew towards Ning Yu. Ning Yu reacted quickly and caught the 2 wisps of soul force firmly. As soon as he received the 2 wisps of soul power, Ning Yu felt that he had established a deep connection with the long-haired man and the short-haired man. This feeling was very subtle. It seemed that as long as he willed it, the long-haired man and the short-haired man could lose their lives at any moment. Who are you? Although his life and death was in Ning Yu's hands, the long-haired man did not completely compromise. He coldly said, "You're tired of living to go against my Jin family." Crack! Ning Yu twisted his neck, making a cracking sound. "You don't seem to understand the situation." Ning Yu's tone was calm without any emotions. "You're a prisoner right now. As long as I'm willing, I can end your life at any moment. Don't think that I'm scared. If you dared to kill us, you would have done it long ago. Why would you wait until now?" The long-haired man was stubborn. He was sure that Ning Yu wouldn't kill them, so he was fearless. Would Ning Yu really not kill them? The answer was clearly no. In the next moment, Ning Yu flicked his wrist and detonated the long-haired man's soul force. Rumble! Soul force exploded, and the long-haired man felt as if his head was going to explode. Powerful shockwaves wreaked havoc in his head. In a moment of desperation, the long-haired man's pupils shrank. He pointed at Ning Yu with his right hand. He wanted to say something, but he only managed to spit out 2 words before falling to the ground. Plop! His body hit the ground with a plop. At this moment, the 7th-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family, the long-haired man, died on the spot. The long-haired man's death was a huge blow to the short-haired man. It made him understand that his life was no longer in his hands. Therefore, after taking a deep breath, the short-haired man chose to lay his cards on the table with Ning Yu. Since Ningyu did not kill him immediately, it meant that Ningyu wanted to get some information from him. In that case, it would give him an opportunity. I'll ask you a few questions. If you can answer them honestly, I can consider sparing your life. Ningyu would not waste time talking to the short-haired man. His time was precious. He still had to return to the North Gate after dealing with this matter. After all, Master Xing Yun and Fairy Yun, she were not strong enough to guard the small array corps. Ask away. As long as I know, I'll tell you. After knowing his fate, the short-haired man calmed down. His calmness was a little frightening. The short-haired man's reaction was a little out of Ningyu's expectations. Compared to the long-haired man, the short-haired man made Ningyu look at him in a new light. Does the Jin family have any more heavenly sovereigns? Ningyu asked after sorting out his thoughts. No. The strongest in the Jin family is Jin Bo, an initial heavenly supreme. He's at the north gate of the giant shield city. The short-haired man answered without hesitation. Does the Jin family have any more half-step heavenly sovereigns? Ningyu asked again. Yes. Ningyu's question was simple, and so was the short-haired man's answer. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the short-haired man did not want to reveal too much about the Jin family. If he revealed too much about the Jin family, even if he could escape, he would definitely be punished. The reason why the Jin family could become the royal family of the Qianya Empire was because of the strict family rules. Do you know the cultivation of the strongest expert sent by Emperor God Palace this time? Ningyu originally wanted to launch a surprise attack on the Jin family of the Qianya Empire. But after hearing that the Jin family had a half-step heavenly sovereign, Ningyu could only give up on that idea. Ningyu knew that the Emperor Palace had also sent experts to attack the giant shield city. So he wanted to know how powerful the cultivators from the Emperor Palace were. The Emperor Palace is the same as our Jin family. On the surface, they only sent 4 cultivators, 1 heavenly sovereign, 1 pinnacle 9th grade earth sovereign, and 2 1st grade earth sovereigns. But there are many 7th grade earth sovereigns in the shadows. The short-haired man did not want to talk about the Jin family. But when it came to the Emperor Palace, the short-haired man revealed everything he knew. Chapter 1496. Chapter 1496. Chapter 1496 Healing Di Lingtian? Ningyu's eyes widened and a solemn expression appeared on his face. Ningyu more or less knew about the Emperor Divine Palace. Di Lingtian was the personal disciple of the Emperor Palace's old ancestor. Rumor had it that Di Lingtian was one of the 6 ultimate geniuses when he was in the human sovereign realm. Ningyu was only one of the 5 ultimate geniuses in this life. Do you have any way to lure Di Lingtian out? Ningyu began to plan in his mind. Logically speaking, there was no reason for the old ancestor of the Emperor Palace to bring Di Lingtian here for such a dangerous mission. After all, it was a battle between advanced Earth sovereigns. If Di Lingtian was not careful, he might die here. The reason why Di Lingtian would come over, there was only one explanation, that was that Di Lingtian came to train. If he encountered an advanced Earth sovereign, he wouldn't let Di Lingtian fight. But if he encountered a low Earth sovereign, he would kill him. The short-haired man shook his head and said solemnly, "There's a grade 9 Earth sovereign next to Di Lingtian. As long as a grade 5 or above Earth sovereign gets close to him, the grade 9 Earth sovereign will attack." Is that so? Ningyu did not frown as he fell into deep thought. Ningyu had already thought of a way to deal with the Jin family. But Ningyu was still at a loss as to how to deal with the Emperor Palace. Both the Jin family and the Emperor Palace were hard to deal with. The Jin family had Jin Bo, a Sky Supreme, and the old ancestor of the Emperor Palace was also a Sky Supreme. If they acted rashly, it would be disastrous. Ningyu pondered for a moment and said, "Tell me everything about your companion." What? The short-haired man was puzzled. He didn't know what Ningyu was up to. "What do you think I'm going to do?" Ningyu transformed into the long-haired man with a shake of his body. "You." Ningyu's sudden change stunned the short-haired man. He raised his right hand and pointed at Ningyu, his face filled with disbelief. The reason why the short-haired man was shocked wasn't that Ningyu had turned into a long-haired man, but the aura that Ningyu was emitting had reached the 7th grade Earth Sovereign realm. Pretending to be weak to eat the tiger? At this moment, the short-haired man was even more certain of his guess. Ningyu was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. His real strength had reached the 7th grade Earth Sovereign realm. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and tell me about your companion's habits, as well as some of his hidden tricks." Ningyu couldn't be bothered to explain to the short-haired man. He patted the short-haired man's shoulder and said, "As long as you do as I say, I promise I won't kill you." Shio. No one noticed that when Ningyu patted the short-haired man's shoulder, a wisp of his soul force had quietly entered the short-haired man's body and hid within. That wisp of soul force was Ningyu's main soul force. Using his main soul force to control the short-haired man was something that Ningyu could be at ease with. Naturally, the short-haired man had no idea that Ningyu had left his soul force in his body. He thought that Ningyu had overexerted himself, causing his shoulder to swell. "All right." At this moment, the short-haired man could only seriously explain to Ningyu without hiding anything. While the short-haired man was seriously teaching, Ningyu was also seriously learning. In less than half an hour, Ningyu had finally grasped everything about the long-haired man. He could already perfectly imitate the long-haired man. If it wasn't for the fact that the short-haired man knew that Ningyu wasn't his companion, he would definitely mistake him for someone else. Shio. Just as Ningyu had perfectly imitated the long-haired man, a huge creature was galloping over from afar. Needless to say, it was definitely a bloodthirsty mad wolf. Buzz. Seeing the bloodthirsty mad wolf flying over, Ningyu's mind shook and he quickly transformed into his original form. "Don't waste time. Hurry up and relax your mind. I'll help you break the seal in your body." Ningyu was swift and decisive. He first explained to the bloodthirsty mad wolf, and then started to break the seal in its body. If it wasn't for the bloodthirsty mad wolf's request, Ningyu definitely wouldn't waste time here. After all, he didn't know what would happen at the giant shield city's north gate. Whether Master Xingyun and Fairy Yun she could hold on was still unknown. The bloodthirsty mad wolf was very cooperative. After half an hour of Ningyu's full effort, the seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body was finally broken. Swoosh, swoosh. After that, a bloodthirsty mad wolf would appear almost every half to 10 minutes. Ningyu didn't refuse any of them. He wholeheartedly helped these bloodthirsty mad wolves break the seal in their bodies. At first, Ningyu needed half an hour to break the seal in a bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. However, as time passed, Ningyu's speed of breaking the seal became faster and faster. In the end, he only needed a few minutes to break the seal in a bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. Whoosh! After breaking the seals within the bodies of 19 bloodthirsty mad wolves, Ningyu finally heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed a little. Including the bloodthirsty mad wolf at the beginning, Ningyu had broken the seal in a total of 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves in just a few hours. "You guys go to the army on the East Road and find Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Tell them that I asked you to find them." After waiting for a while and seeing that no bloodthirsty mad wolves were coming this way, Ningyu began his next move. He took a deep breath and looked at the 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves. "When you arrive at the army on the East Road, you have 2 tasks. First, cooperate with Mu Ping and Mu Hua to complete the task I gave them. Second, make sure that your companions don't die." Before Ningyu left the army on the East Road, he handed over the 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves to Mu Ping and Mu Hua so that they could cooperate with him perfectly. Strictly speaking, Ningyu wasn't very assured. After all, among the 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves left in the army on the East Road, more than a dozen of them still had their seals broken. This, however, was more dangerous. Therefore, Ningyu specifically ordered the 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves to protect their companions. Whether it was the bloodthirsty mad wolves here or the bloodthirsty mad wolves in the East Road, they were all at the Earth's supreme realm, which was a rare fighting force. Ningyu knew that he was up against the Jin family and Divine Emperor Palace. Therefore, he planned to prepare his own forces after this crisis was over. In the Sky Demon region, without your own forces, you couldn't compete with some powerful sects, no matter how strong you were. Of course, this was all in the future. What he needed to do now was to get through the crisis of Giant Shield City. Understood. The 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves answered in unison. They had already acknowledged Ningyu. After all, if it weren't for Ningyu, they would have been dead long ago. Whoosh! The 20 bloodthirsty mad wolves moved in unison and rushed toward the army on the East Road from the other side. Not only was he the leader of the bloodthirsty wolves, but his cultivation had also reached the pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign realm. It could be said that the self-destruction of the previous 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves was not as powerful as Bada's self-destruction. Bada was Jin Bo's final trump card. You actually want a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign to self-destruct here? Seeing Bada slowly walking out, Master Xingyun's face was filled with disbelief. If a 9th grade Earth Sovereign were to self-detonate here, there was a high possibility that the small array core would be destroyed. However, there was a higher possibility that the shock wave would spread out and affect Jin Bo's own people. I know what you're thinking. Jin Bo shrugged and waved his sleeves. In an instant, a scroll appeared in his hand. Waving the scroll in his hand, Jin Bo said, "This is an ancient scroll with extremely powerful defensive capabilities. Not to mention the self-destruction of a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, it can even withstand the self-destruction of a heavenly sovereign." Can it really withstand the self-destruction of a heavenly sovereign? Hearing that, Master Xing Yun and Fairy Yun Shi's hearts jolted. For some reason, they hoped that Bada would attack the small array core instead. That's because when Bada attacked the small array core, Jin Bo would definitely bring out the ancient scroll to block it. Thus, they would have one less life-saving method. Master Xing Yun and Fairy Yun Shi had already prepared for the worst. That was, if the small array core was destroyed, Jin Bo and the rest would rush into the Giant Shield City. Therefore, Master Xing Yun and Fairy Yun Shi had left their trump card in the space near the small array core. The trump card that Master Xing Yun and Fairy Yun Shi had left behind was none other than Tua He. Tua He was a bona fide Sky Supreme expert. There was still a huge difference between the self-destruction of a heavenly sovereign and the self-destruction of a 9th grade Earth Sovereign. It could be said that the self-destruction of 10 9th grade Earth Sovereigns could not compare to the self-destruction of a heavenly sovereign. Jin Bo curled his lips and said in disdain, "Even if 100 8th grade Earth Sovereigns like you self-destructed at the same time, it would still be able to withstand it." As he spoke, Jin Bo saw that Bada was still standing there in a daze. He couldn't help but fly into a rage. "Bada, what are you still standing there for? I've already been merciful enough to you. Only I would be so merciful to 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves." Bada was already prepared to self-destruct. However, Bada did not want to self-destruct at the small array core. Instead, he wanted to self-destruct on the spot. Therefore, no matter how Jin Bo shouted, Bada remained indifferent. Buzz! In the next instant, Bada's body began to swell, becoming bigger and bigger. Not good, he's going to self-destruct here. Seeing Bada's actions, Meng Quan and the rest exclaimed, "Jin Bo, I don't care what method you use. Just hurry up and stop him. You must make him stop. Don't make a fuss. Everything is under my control." Jin Bo was very calm, so calm that it was a little scary. The reason why Jinbo was so calm was because of the Jin family's seal in Bada's body. As long as Jinbo was unwilling, Bada could not self-destruct no matter what. Bada, since you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit, I can only teach you a lesson. The corner of Jinbo's lips rose as he shouted, Huang Jiqiang, Huang Jijian, come out and tell Bada where the other 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves are. Whoosh! As Jinbo's voice rang out, the void trembled. Then, Huang Jiqiang, Ningyu, and the rest appeared in everyone's sight. The other 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves are already under our control. As long as you give the order, I will immediately bring them over. The one who spoke was none other than Huang Jijian, also known as Ningyu. Ningyu was not nervous at all. Instead, he spoke in a logical manner. Very good, the two of you have done well. Don't let the 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves come over for the time being. Jinbo nodded. He was very satisfied with Ningyu and Huang Jiqiang's actions. Jinbo was satisfied, but Bada was finished. Hearing Ningyu's words, Bada's entire body trembled. Bada had thought that Jinbo would play tricks, and he had a backup plan. He had asked Ningyu to help rescue the 20 bloodthirsty berserk wolves. Now, it seemed that Ningyu should have failed and might even be killed. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.